This episode of Defining Duke is brought to you by BetterHelp. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, I strongly recommend giving BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Duke today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Duke.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 136 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by a man who I imagine is going to claim a bit of a victory here with Obsidian in the news. He's dressed for the occasion. How are you doing, sir?
I mean, you know, it may be some foreshadowing or something. Just a little bit. You know, what's going on, man? I'm doing good. It's been, you know, a ton of travel this month. I'm all over the place. It's crazy. Back from GCX.
You're at GCX? Yes, sir.
Let's back from GCX. That's my little tradition, gaming convention. You know, it initially started off as like a Destiny only kind of event, and then it kind of evolved, and so many people pulled up. It was really cool. And what I like about it, it's like a resort. Like, it's like you do a little work, but you get away and relax. Everything's all inclusive. So it also did Universal Studios, which was cool. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, realized that I am old, and walking around amusement parks in the heat in Florida ain't it. Nope. So yeah, that was that. And so not as much gaming as I wanted to, but I got some stuff in. We'll get into that part. And yeah, what's going on with you, man?
What a week.
Yeah.
What a week from all these health updates I may have for our audience, all the way down to breaking into my own home to start this episode. I was grocery shopping. I was getting stuff from Home Depot. I was full on adulting today, man. And I come home. I'm like, it's Duke time to talk games. After this, play some games. Bro, my house was locked. The key wasn't working. Couldn't get in. So, ladies and gentlemen, hammer, flathead screwdriver. In we came. Was that pause worthy?
That was definitely pause worthy.
Yeah.
But what was your
no pause count this episode?
Oh, pause count was crazy. Yeah. so your lockpick skill, your rating was high enough to get it?
You know, I gotta be honest with the audience. I definitely I thought of Skyrim, I thought of Oblivion, I thought of Fallout 3, and I was like, why not me? And so I went in with like the tweezers, and I had like a little skinny Phillips screwdriver. I was like, maybe I can like be that dude who in all those video games that just breaks open every lock. I failed. So I had to use brute force. I did a strength check.
Okay, strength check.
So,
okay,
there we go. I got through the door. I'm here. Happy to be recording. Very late, but happy to be here nonetheless. Yeah, I just had a couple of updates because I know I have shared on the show before, and I feel like I'm comfortable enough to talk about it now. I had a couple of updates on my health that I just want to make the audience a little bit aware of before we dive into it. So, because I've been talking a bit on the show about, you know, MRIs and checkups and all this stuff, and I just want to make it clear with the audience that I'm okay. I finally found out what's going on, and I think I finally figured out how to live a normal life again. So,
okay, let's go.
Since November of last year, how I would define my life is no ground was steady, literally, as in if I was standing, I was off balance. So any content you've seen me in, any video, podcast, anything, the room is typically spinning a little bit for me. And like if I lean in my chair, it feels like I'm going all the way down. Like my motion sensitivity was super up there, which I've had since I was a kid. Like when I got off the boat, my boat was rocking literally for a while. If I got off, like when I went to E3 for the first time, it was the first time I traveled on a plane in 2016. When I went to E3 and I got off the plane, I felt like I was still on the plane for at least 48 hours. So it's been something that I've dealt with before, but it always fades away. However, when I got engaged, my fiance and I went to Skyline Tower. Great place, by the way. Wonderful restaurant. It's a big, tall, rotating tower.
Oh, the
in the
joint
sky.
in Seattle. You talking about that joint?
In Niagara Falls.
Oh, there's one in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been to the one in Washington, I believe. There's
I didn't know there were multiple.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if it's that exact name, but there's a similar restaurant that kind of rotates.
Okay.
That's in Seattle. I believe it's in the Space Deal or whatever, and it has that
cool.
vibe. Okay.
Yeah. So once I came down from that, and by the way, I hadn't been this high up in the sky in any type of. And by the way, yeah, it's like a slightly moving object, but it's rotating.
It's rotating.
In 4 years because of the pandemic. I haven't been traveling because of work or anything I had to go to. Like events were making their way to the East Coast now, so I was able to take a train or drive there.
Right.
So I hadn't been on any type of moving anything in the sky in a while. So I come down, I wake up the next day, and like my boat's rocking. I'm like, what the is going on? The difference though is that this never left me.
Damn,
and
crazy.
So I went to. This is what led to me missing the last day media event. Because,
they missed you.
You know, the ENT was like looking at me and like they thought it was bad vertigo, et cetera, et cetera. And so after seeing my general practitioner, 1 ENT, 2 ENT, 3 ENTs, I finally get into a guy who specializes in balance. Fucking prick, by the way. I just gotta say it outright.
No,
like, just as a reminder to those of you who are, because I know we reached all kinds of audiences. If you are trained to be a doctor, give a shit about your patient, because this dude fucking sucks, and I'll get into why.
Let's go.
Absolute ass wipe. So first appointment, this dude puts me on. He listens to all my symptoms. He's like, I think you have a thing called vestibular migraines. But for migraines, and I'll get into what that is in a moment, you can't test, if you got a migraine. You got to test everything around it.
Okay.
And then when you line them all up, knock them all down, then it's like, okay, you passed all those.
Right.
You have this, sir. So I had to do 3 different balance tests. I don't use this word lightly. One of them genuinely trauma inducing. Like, it was awful, bro. They had to like cover I told you about this. After I went through it. Cover my eyes. I was in a pitch black room. They blew compressed air in my ear like a vacuum cleaner. It makes you super dizzy. And I had a mask on. And so it was a very much like claustrophobia kind of inducing event, right? Nutty, bro. So that was awful. That awoke something in me. So I had to do like a rotary chair thing, which is something out of 1800s. Like they put you like strapped in a chair and just rotate you in a dark room. Couldn't finish that. And then some other one where it was very simple. They just like do a ticking sound in your ear. And I'm like, okay, that's nice and easy. And then the MRI, which Cog and I have been talked about the coffin before. Couldn't do the first one. Y'all, if you have an issue with MRIs like me and Cog do, sit up MRI is the wave. Literally open in the front, open above. You just sit in a chair. And yeah, when you get a head MRI, you got to wear like a cage. But like, as someone who was getting that kind of claustrophobia vibe, let me tell you all what, like, huge difference maker there. I was able to get through it. And actually, I watched the whole episode of Law and Order. Pretty good.
Okay. So, all right.
Do all these tests. This took a whopping 4-5 months to get through all this because of delays, cancellations.
Of course.
And so
those appointments take long to set up. Sometimes you don't get those very quick.
Especially those special machines.
Like, it took me like 4 months after my diverticulitis to even get a gastrologist appointment. That's how long it takes.
Dude. It's crazy. These specialists are so in demand.
Yes.
And so finally, after all these tests are done, and I'm worried this whole time. I'm super anxious about like, do I have a tumor? Like, why am I off balance all the time? And it would be no matter what I did, and you can't distract yourself from it. It's just happening. It's a constant. And so finally, after all these tests, I go see this same doctor 4 months later, and this is his villain arc, right? This is how he becomes an asshole.
This is where you go off. This is
the funny part.
All right.
So I come in there and I'm like, all right, I just went through hell for these tests, but I had to get them done to the best of my ability to get some answers, right? Because I'm a good patient.
Clarity.
Right. Clarity. So he's like, yeah, I think you have vestibular migraines. Now, what he said to me back in like February, March was, I think you have vestibular migraines. I'm going to put you on a migraine diet. Try some magnesium, try some vitamin B2. He's like, you're going to be good to go. I'm like, all right, cool. So he sits down. He goes through all my results. He's like, MRI clear. You're good.
Okay.
We only got so much information from the balance test because, like I said, I couldn't finish some of them.
Right.
He's like, well, otherwise, you're good. He's like, I still think you have vestibular migraines.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you on a migraine diet. This bro starts running down the same rigmarole as he did 4 months ago. And he was an hour late. I was like, bro, I stopped him in the middle of it. I'm not like, I was like, dude, you told me all this. He's like, well, is it affecting your quality of life? I'm like, dog, I did all these tests. You think it's not affecting my quality of life? Unfucking real.
Crazy.
So he just,
let's finish because I
was going to say, he slings me on medication after that. He's like, try topiramate. He's like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I don't fuck with medication, really. I'm more holistic. I try to be where I can. I'm not anti-meds or anything, or anti-vax.
Try to minimize as much.
Yeah, but I try to minimize, right? Especially when it's upstairs, you know.
Okay.
I don't try to mess with that stuff. Okay. So he just throws this my way, and I'm just like, I don't feel like this dude. If this dude was running me down the same thing as if I'm talking about the first time, as he did a couple months ago, he's doing it again. And then when I tell him, like, yeah, my quality of life's impacted, by the way, which he already knew, throws me on the medicine. I was like, I'm not taking it. So I really looked into this diet, and this is where the story goes in the upswing. Okay, right? Because like this whole time, this was like just a week or two ago, and I was like down bad. Like I was really upset because I felt let down. Like I was like, this dude like felt like a glimmer of hope to me to get some answers, and he just gave me guesswork, medication, and the same bullshit as a couple months ago, as if he didn't even know me. Right.
So, and just to interject for 1 second, my main concern is that, again, what I realize is that not all specialists and not all doctors are created equal, and then also some of it is a hustle to keep you with the insurance and getting more money and keeping you coming back. Whereas, you know, some people run that hustle, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we have to. Not saying that all these tests are BS, but you know what I'm saying? Like, especially because he told you the same thing from the beginning. Like, I get your feeling, but get to me where you are now.
Yeah. So now what's happening is I'm like, all right, I'm looking back into this diet because I'm like, I don't want to go on medicine, especially when like the dude who's giving it to me is just not trustworthy.
Yeah, I feel you. Once that relationship that trust is broken, I look at them different. Yeah.
So I ended up becoming an organic snob is what I call it. Right. So like everything at the store, organic. And I could show you this list I have of like foods you can have. Pretty much you have to avoid 2 agents. One's tyramine, one's histamine. Okay. Long story short, those things trigger migraines. And that's what I've been struggling with. Gotcha. So I pretty much have gone on to a completely new diet. And I have to limit myself. So it's like I can't have high sodium. I can't go crazy with like spices. You'd be shocked at the stuff I can't eat. Wow. And I know migraine sufferers out there listening right now know what I'm talking about. Like you got it. When you go on, it's called a migraine elimination diet. Go on over like 3-4 months. Gotcha. Really try to chop some stuff down and see how you improve. So I've cleaned out the system. I've overhauled the supplements. And for the first time in 10 months, I'm starting to feel good again.
Okay, so you're starting to feel a little better.
I'm starting to feel like the room isn't shaking. Like right now, I'm looking at you, and you're not like.
So before it used to be,
you were on a wave from me constantly. Anyone was, and it's been tough. It's made me miss a ton of things. It's scary to go out because I'm afraid I'm going to fall.
Of course,
it's limited everything I can do.
I remember a couple times we hung out, and you stepped away for a while. And after kind of hanging out and stuff like that. I don't like it's bad. That's powerful that you were really suffering like that all this time.
Yeah, I mean, I tell the story just because I know, as someone who's gone through it, like this is my moment to kind of like start to claim a victory after so long of being down. And I say all that because for me, it was the toughest part was it was so invisible. Right? It's like, what is happening? And granted, when he's like, your MRI is clear, I'm like, okay, like great. That's the big thing I was worried about. But what is it? I still didn't really know. And it just goes to show that what you eat is who you are. Yeah. And I thought I ate pretty clean, but bro, I got to be an organic snob now, but it's been pretty life-changing. I actually was able to go on a jog, which I really haven't been able to do. Oh, wow. Did a little bit of boxing.
Oh, wow. You really pushed it.
Yeah, because I started to feel good. I was like, let's see, I don't want to go crazy, but I was like, let's see what I'm capable of. And I'm starting to feel myself. I'm hoping I can travel again soon. I'm not trying to get too crazy, but I'm trying to see if I can ride out the rest of the year feeling pretty good. So
that's what's up, man.
I didn't mean to eat up too much showtime there, but I just wanted to let the audience know, because I know some people were concerned. I don't want people to think I just bailed on an event for LSM and then ended up, not having answers for it. It was really important to me that I was able to share the story and just let people know what was going on. and hopefully I'll be on the true upswing now in the
Yeah.
coming weeks and feeling pretty good heading into Starfield. Funny
That's
enough.
what's up, man. Now, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you getting the clarity. And again, this is stuff that, me and Colin talked about. A lot of us as gamers, we're afraid to get the answers, right? Regardless to the journey, we're afraid to get it. And at least now you got some clarity. I feel bad about the doctor situation, but
I've never had that experience before.
Yeah, I've had that
typically
experience.
I'm a big doctor guy, but oh man, this guy sucked.
I've had that experience before. And what I always tell people is don't be afraid to say, and I think me and Kyle talked about it when he talked about with therapists, like he felt like I was completely not caring or they didn't vibe. Like with doctors, they're not created equal. Sometimes if your gut instinct is like, not this guy, go seek out another specialist, go get a second opinion. Because a lot of times some people get caught up in the insurance and the financial gain of keeping you around for more tests and more things. Some people are legitimate.
Step therapy for migraines. Like there's like they throw you on these low tier stuff, and the stuff that really helps people is like a level above. So you got to eliminate stuff. To me, I was reading about it online, bro. With like some people have great experiences with it, but for me, as someone who runs 3 different businesses, they're like, yeah, you get a lot of brain fog and like you start to lose your words. I'm like, I'm just trading out one problem for the other at that point. I would lose my fucking mind, bro. I could never do that.
I agree.
I literally have to be sharp as a tack for what I do.
Bro, I feel you on that. And again, those symptoms, right, of what those type of drugs and stuff can do. So I'm glad you got that clarity and you're feeling better organically with this method. And he agrees too.
Shout out to the dog. I got to get him out of here.
Go get him. You know what I'm saying? But I'll talk to the Health as Wealth crew while we do it, while Maddie's handling business. But yeah, it's so important. Right now I'm on my journey right now, trying to figure out what the diverticulitis stuff. I just saw a gastrologist appointment and I'm getting clarity now. They want me to do an MRI. Before
sit up MRI, bro. I'm telling you.
I am. I'm trying to. They keep trying to say, but we got open. I'm like,
no, not the same, bro.
That's what I keep telling them. I was like, no, because you throwing me in the coffin again. And I was like, I don't like the coffin. So
why are they trying to convince you of that? That's crazy.
It was one of the gastrologist was like, I guess because it was who they were affiliated with and it was very close. So I was like, find me the step joint because I know it exists. So we on the hunt for that, and then we'll get clarity there. But this is good stuff. Health is wealth.
Yeah, health is wealth. It's a big part of our show, and so I know some people fast forward through it. That's totally fine. That's fine. But for those who sit there with us and talk about this stuff with us and engage with it, we really do appreciate that. We try to let the community know as much about us as they do about themselves with their write-ins, and we actually have some great ones here. This week is pretty, at least as of right now, as we record, pretty dry for gaming news, and so we're just going to be totally write-in driven this episode, which is a lot of fun, a lot of interaction here. So let's get into it. Cog, this one's for you. Joseph LaRousse, you may recognize his name. Greetings, Sir Dukes. I just want to give a shout out to the one and only Lord Cognito for being so friendly last week at the GCX meetup. This man recognized me from my Twitter interactions, came over with a big hug, and we chatted about games. He said, I'm a real one, but no, Cog, you, sir, are the real one. P.S. Maddie, if you want some amusement, ask Cog to name off some specific types of Destiny weapons by their exact name. No phone allowed. Thanks for the many hours of entertainment, fellas. Thank you, Joseph, for writing in. So, Cog, you met some fellow Dukes out at GCX. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. LSF fan pulled up. It was so funny because him specifically, I remember him in the background pulling up and watching. So basically we had a meetup at GCX. I was like, hey, anybody, ILP, Lords of Gaming, LSM, whoever that knows, this is gonna be the spot, and there's this little bar inside the resort. It's called Headwater. So I had everybody meet us there. That's one of my favorite spots. So everyone comes through, and like people like me when I do drink because I'm a kind of a fun drink. So I'm like, look, we're gonna play some games. So we should have did it with drinks, but I kept it. I didn't want to get ridiculous. So I said, what we'll do is we're gonna test your Destiny knowledge. So we went through this game. It's like, okay, we went through kinetic weapons, energy weapons, and you had the rule was, it was like, say, I got like 9-10 people in on this game, right? So the rule was they had to name a weapon. It shows you how much you play Destiny, and then the next person can't pick the same thing. And this has to keep going on and on and on until you get eliminated. So we was doing, it was so much fun. I had like a whole crowd around us. It was hilarious. So all in the pack, Joseph was in there. And I guess he was in the back chilling, and I could see the person looked like he knew me. And he was like, I'm from what you call it. I'm like, yo, I know you. Get over here. And give him a big hug. It was dope. We took a pic, we took a flick and stuff like that. But we got a lot of people like that. It was fun, man. Salute to him. Salute to everybody that came through. I love, gaming events and fun stuff like that.
Shout out to Ebontis, by the way. He sent me that V1 Tech booth that was there. He sent me the Mega Man ones, and he sent it to me. And he actually did such of a huge favor for me because I went on their website, I couldn't find it, and he contacted them and found the custom invoice that you'd put in to get those. So I put the order in. So shout out to Ebontis.
Let me shout out to E. E was at the game, drinking game with us. If there's ever a Mega Man DDU or a big,
I know,
like he has to be on. There's 2 games I will have to co-sign my brother, but 3, Destiny, of course. Mega Man, and if there's anything Chrono Trigger, Sea of Stars, you may want to holler at the boy. Like that is his thing. So shout out to E, man. That's my guy. It's so good to see him. I haven't seen him in a while. And for the record, GCX was originally Guardian Con, and that was the first con I went to because I love Destiny so much. I got to support it. And I met him there, and that's how the Last Word podcast was started.
There we go. There's a little lore for Cog, or the Grimoire, I should say.
That's the Grimoire. That's the backstory, the lore, deep lore.
Chris Nelson is our next writing. Greetings, Wigman Maddie and co-pilot Cog. Maddie, I know you're not one for romancing partners in video games, but I have to thank the Dukes for playing a role in the best moment of my life, maxing out my social link, aka proposing to my girlfriend. I was racked with nerves leading up to the big moment and needed a distraction to keep cool, calm, and collected. I turned to my favorite podcast for help. The ongoing saga of mac and cheese density kept me laughing and smiling as I waited for that romantic sunset to arrive. I wanted y'all to know that one of the last things I heard as a non-engaged man was Cog saying, Phil is on stage with your girl. Thank you for the fun, entertainment, critical thinking, and sometimes magical moments that this podcast provides. Much love. Have a Jim Ryan watching that Summer Jam scream and wishing he put a ring on it too type of day.
Yo, Chris with the bars. Oh, that's crazy. That's what's up. Yo, congratulations, man.
Congrats. Yes. I saw he posted it on. I know he posted it on my Patreon server, which was awesome to see. Okay. He got to send me that. The big moment, which was awesome. So
he's got a picture?
You, Chris. Yeah, a picture of the hand,
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, you've been there, sir. You know the nerves involved, waiting for the moment, the backdrop.
Bro, I thought I'd be so cool with it. I fucking blew it.
I fumbled the bag.
I completely blew it. Like I started talking to, I don't know if I shared this story, but like I started talking to Laylee about how cool water was because like I was about to bend the knee and this dude just pulls up like right at that moment. I'm standing there. I'm like, yo, I got to kill that 15 seconds. And I was like, hand in pocket.
Oh, you was ready.
I was like, so I like fumble. I take my phone out, switch pockets, and so that was slick, right? But then she's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, yeah, the water." I was like, "Don't you think it's?" Because we're at Niagara Falls. I'm like, "Yo, isn't it just so beautiful?" I was awful, bro. Y'all need to know one thing about me. I'm a terrible liar. Like I cannot lie for shit. I'd be an awful criminal. So
this is amazing.
Yeah, dude, like I completely blew it. And she's like laughing at me. She's like, "Why are you talking about water?" And then I'm like dead quiet, just kind of staring out there, like, "Okay, well, I blew it." So, and then I look, it's empty, and once she turned her back, I was like, "All right, I'm taking a knee. Let's go.
Let's go."
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
That was it. So yeah, she was still she blacked out during it. So that was it.
That's dope.
All right, Murderer Kevin. Speaking of criminals, writes in. Hey lads, Magic the Gathering Fallout crossover cards in January. Maddie, what you saying? Fancy a game? Yeah, I actually saw this and I'm definitely going to buy these. Like 100% I'm going to buy these, man. So I guess they did this with the Lord of the Rings. And I noticed this at a local card shop I was at, is they made like the commanders for some of this Magic the Gathering limited set from Lord of the Rings characters. Like I think they had like a Gandalf set. So yeah, Fallout? Are you kidding me? Like I'm so curious who they're going to pick. So I'm very excited about this, but I'll be all over this because I collected the Fallout cards when that was a thing. I got the first series and the second series booster box, but it's just like, it's mid, man. It's just not, it's not it. It's just not it. Like I don't like just collecting cards like baseball cards. I like playing cards like One Piece, Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, that type of stuff. So
hardcore addicts with that. Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely my if you will, kryptonite. That's my microtransaction that gets me, but it's away from video games, so none of y'all know.
I got you. Do your crack while you're lonely. I feel you.
One more update here from Neo JD. Just wanted to check in on Maddie and find out why you missed the latest Stelly. Maddie, you can't skip out on the show. You gave a nickname too, but for real, hope all is well. Thank you, Neo, for writing in. I didn't know if Colin was going to say anything about this just because I didn't write this down in my calendar, so that part's on me, but I had to take Rufus to the vet. My man's got ear mites. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I never heard of that.
Ear mites. So it turns out because we adopted him.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe he was around a cat or something because it's said that's where you can get it from.
Mm-hmm.
Bugs living in his ear. Gross. So my man had like, he scratched his ear so much, it broke skin. Yeah, he was really hurting. And he was like flapping his ears. He wasn't sleeping. So we needed to do something. So I sprung to action. But my apologies for missing Constellation. I just didn't mark it down. So, I apologize. And then I told Colin to I don't know if that was, did that make it into the last crossover about us talking about my email? Colin always hits the wrong email of mine. And so I miss all his messages. I've told him 3 times, I'm like, bro, this is my email. Hit this one that we started our negotiations, our conversation, everything with. But he keeps hitting the wrong line.
That is hilarious.
Anyway, Cog, that's enough about us, health is wealth, all that good stuff. Shall we get into the news?
Let's get into it, man.
All right. Quake 2 Improved Edition has leaked to be releasing at QuakeCon. So a little bit of a shadow drop on the way, Cog. How do we feel about this one? Because they already did a Quake 4K remaster, put that on Game Pass. So I imagine this will be day one on Game Pass. Yeah. But they keep bringing back Quake. And I can't help but think of id, right? We all want to know what they're working on next. And I imagine they're not going to combine these two announcements together. But the rumor was id is working on Quake. So do you think they're preparing the masses, catch up on your Quake for what's next from id?
I mean, it seems like the right rollout cycle, right? From a marketing standpoint, they clearly, this has to be more improved than just, hey, we're just going to throw a little 4K on it and call it a day, right? So we were assuming that it's going to be very heavily optimized, maybe remade, more added features, things of that nature. I expect the bells and whistles. What I was surprised is, look, as much as we've given Bethesda a mess in 2022, this was a surprise. Like, I didn't see this one coming, so to speak, this year. So, looks like it's, QuakeCon is going to get it. And that would be a big output for them in 2023, right? This is huge output. So, yeah, I think it's going to lean towards, if I had to, guess, potentially getting people familiar with the Quake universe so that, if you decide to put a 3 or another number on it, we are totally familiar. We're totally up to date on this series. So, that's what I'm rolling. What you rolling with on this whole situation?
Yeah, I think I think just with these companies, my mindset, and it's a blessing and a curse, is like nothing's done without reason. They don't just wake up and go, oh, Quake is cool. Let's bring it back. I mean, that's a good enough reason for me, but I think as a business and the effort, the resources, you got to have maybe more cooking in the oven. Like, oh, these are going to do well now because people know Quake, but when they announce a new Quake, maybe then you get that surge of sales for the old one with the nostalgia. Like, it's all there, ready to go. So I love that they're going to probably shadow drop this. I think they did the same thing with the first Quake when they re-released that on new consoles. So a shame it leaked, but still another notch on Bethesda's belt this year outside of Redfall. I mean, it's been a really strong year from them, and everyone's dropping stuff. So it's going to be quiet from them for a while afterwards, with maybe like Machine Games and id possibly moving on next. But other than that, it's going to be all quiet.
This episode of Defining Duke is brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life we're faced with brutal choices and tough decisions, and at times we can be paralyzed at key inflection points by not knowing exactly what to do. Questions like, what am I going to do in my life? Why am I wasting my time dating this person that seems so different from me? Or what do I do now that I have my quote-unquote dream job, but I hate it? The truth is, sometimes in life we're faced with tough choices and the path forward isn't always clear. Whether you're dealing with decisions around career, relationships, or anything else, therapy can help you stay connected to what you really want to navigate with your life, and at the same time moving forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything else. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. For me, there's been plenty of pivotal moments in my life, but with the advent of hindsight, I now recognize I could have handled much better. Whether it was lack of experience or maturity, or the fact of the matter is I just didn't possess the tools necessary, so I was ill-equipped to make smart decisions and was left to cope with the extreme consequences of my actions. When I finally sought out therapy, I have to say, it truly helped me immensely to focus on properly dealing with toxic situation, and also gave me positive organizational skills to help set boundaries, thus empowering me to be the very best version of myself. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, I strongly recommend giving BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Duke today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Duke.
Capcom. They said they're satisfied with the performance of Exoprimal and don't expect a financial loss on the game. I thought this was reassuring to hear because a lot of people have written this off as the first Capcom L in a while, but you and I have stood toe-to-toe with the audience and said, nay, this is not a Capcom L. This is a good game. Not amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good enough game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to see that they think it's doing well enough. Now, do you think it's going to last long on the digital shelves, if you will, the servers? Are they going to stay online? Because I give it 2 years.
Yeah, the key is the output of content, man. You see with Halo Infinite, right? You know, you've got to have that content roadmap. Now, I know they've got like a Street Fighter thing coming. There's some stuff coming, but they've got to keep reminding people, hey, we're out here. Hey, look at this shiny thing. Come right on back. Like you have, especially with live service, multiplayer, that kind of thing. You gotta have that. So the foundation is solid. We both thought it was really good. It really surprised me. I came in with not like it was super low expectation because I liked the visual style of it. I knew I might be able to get into it. And I was right that I knew I was going to most likely like it. But it was way more fun than I thought it was. I was like, okay, this is really cool. So yeah, they've got to keep reminding people. That's the key. Content, roadmap, consistency if you go and do this live service thing. But it is encouraging to hear them say, hey, we're satisfied with it. You know, hey, this is not a flop for us. Or we're like, because some companies will be like, hey, we're extremely disappointed and we expected, you know.
Another Japanese company does that often.
There's companies that do that. So yeah, this was it was cool to hear Capcom at least say that.
This was such a pleasant surprise. Killer Instinct is getting a free 10th anniversary update. It's a balance update, so they're tweaking some characters, they're improving matchmaking, and giving 4K support for Series X and S. I still always say, like, it was neck and neck between, yes, Rise Son of Rome, and this is the best Xbox One launch game. Like, I don't care what y'all have to say about Xbox One. I'm right there with you. Underwhelming console cycle. That launch library was fucking fire, though. It was legitimately good. And Killer Instinct, to me, was the hidden gem and my personal favorite out of everything that dropped on that day. I remember just downloading on a whim because it was just one more free thing to have on my brand new console. But it is so good. Yeah, I can't believe Xbox is just, they need a fighting game. And I know Phil said, yeah, we want to bring it back, wanting and actually delivering two different things, but I can't believe they're just sitting on something as good as Killer Instinct, especially as they tried to morph it into the Xbox DNA with, Battletoads, Arbiter was there. They did such a great job with it. And one of the smoothest transitions we've seen from multiple developers and somehow keeping the game, in my opinion, on a steady incline, adding in story mode, arcade. That game is completely different from how it launched in 2013, but to see it still getting support is amazing. So, sir, I know you're busy you're a taken man right now in the fighting world, but would you make some time for KI in your life? Yeah,
absolutely. And this seems to be leading into something more because the Iron Galaxy, I believe the LinkedIn, there's a role available. Like, this is bro, this is more than just, we just updating. And listen, this is how I know. You look at the Twitter accounts of who's like championing this, and you see like Jason Ronald, you see a whole bunch of people retweeting and stuff like that. Again, I get the sense that this is a prelude to something else. And remember, Iron Galaxy did that game that flopped not that long ago. What was the one they was canceled? What was that? It was one of them. I always forget the name. Is it one of them WB games or one of them games?
I'm looking at their games.
Yeah, that they had to make the announcement. They kind of
Rumbleverse.
Yes, that sounds right. That sounds right. Yes, Rumbleverse. And like, bro, if my theory is correct, it looks like that. They have freed them up. And now, we've all known that, that Microsoft has been told multiple times by its community, hey, what's up with Killer Instinct? What's up with the fighting game? You guys had this. It needs to come back. This is unacceptable that you're sitting on this. And then the talk at the time is like, we need to find a suitable, maybe Iron Galaxy is free now to kind of come back. I am convinced.
That makes sense.
This is more than you just randomly now want to do this update. And then all of a sudden you got
10th anniversary, I guess.
But it's like, and then there's a LinkedIn post talking about a position that this said guy is working on. Keep our eyes peeled to this because I think something's cooking, and Killer Instinct would be huge. That would be a huge announcement, to get the base invigorated on fighting games. That's something the FGC doesn't. We don't get that from Xbox, and I've always on that. Just One is always my main, but fighting games,
fighting
come
games
on.
and JRPGs,
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Especially if they want that Japan appeal. They love fighting games over there too. So
Evo's going on right now, bro, it's time.
JUSANT, which was announced at Xbox's showcase, seems to be releasing October 3rd, 2023, according to the Xbox Store, which leaked their date. This is going to be one that we'll see at Gamescom, so I imagine maybe they were holding back the release date for then, but this is a Don't Nod game, and it looked pretty solid. It's, for those who don't remember, the mountain climbing game. Really unique art style. I don't think I'll be there day one, but especially October is so packed. But for those who are excited, that's when you'll be able to play it, possibly.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked good. I remember it from the showcase and stuff like that. Very unique. The climbing and don't know. Usually they usually have like a solid track record. So yeah, this was something I got my eye on. We'll see what's going on.
All right, Cog. This one really took over, but not for Xbox. Red Dead Redemption is coming to Switch and PlayStation 4 on August 17th. It is just a port with no upgrades, no PC version, and no, it's technically not coming to Xbox because back compat exists. Michael Buffalo writes in, "Hey Dukes, Rockstar is porting the Xbox 3 version of the original Red Dead Redemption that is still available on the Xbox Store to PS4 and Switch for $50. The game is currently in the Xbox Store for $29.99 and often on sale for $10. My question is, do you think it's acceptable to literally port the same version of the game for $20 more on other platforms? Is Rockstar's image going to take another hit after fumbling another classic game like they did with GTA Trilogy? Thanks for all you guys do."
Absolutely.
Kyle, your thoughts on this one, sir?
Yo, Take Two, what are we doing? What are we doing, bro? Like, this ain't it. This is not it. Like, Xbox users, this is like, again, shout out to Back Compat team. We've been eating. We know we've had this, FPS boosts, all the bells and whistles, but like for the PlayStation and Nintendo communities, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. And here's the thing, man, it really upset me about it was that I remember there was an interview with like the CEO, what's his name, Strauss Zelnick or whatever, years ago. Like, we here at Take Two, we won't just remaster something. We won't just
we won't just port something. Love those evergreen statements. Aren't they great?
Remember those statements? And it's just like, now we've got a recent history. What was it? The last GTA kind of pulled this, low effort kind of thing. And here's the thing. There's not even PS5 support. It's the PS4 version. Like, this is not a good look. I mean, so many people, look, Solve is depressed. Like, he is Red Dead hardcore. Like, that is one of his GOAT games. He goes super hard for this game. I think he even had Red Dead 2 over God of War that year. He was going hard. And his excitement when he first heard about oh man, because everybody's thinking remake. Mm-hmm. And I get it. That probably a higher lift, but to do this and not offer anything, and Xbox fans been had this on back compat with bells and whistles, like, this is not it. So I'm very disappointed at this effort, and it looks like they're getting the smoke, rightfully so. Like, it looks like everybody's unified with the smoke on this one.
I'll tell you why I'm not surprised by this, and it's because, let's read this headline from February 7th, 2022, Video Game Chronicle. GTA's remaster trilogy has significantly exceeded expectations, that's in quotes, with up to 10 million sales.
There it is.
And I'm sorry, but when you just look at how much, that was a train wreck, dude. So for them, they're probably like, it's Red Dead. It's going to sell really well. It's not just that simple. It's like, we're just going to port this and not risk a potential blow up, because while it may have significantly exceeded expectations, there is also the possibility they look at that and say, okay, we dodged a bullet there. That could have been more, maybe 10 times, maybe like double the amount of sales if it was really, really good at launch. Let's just port this thing. Like, let's not go for the full remaster. Maybe that partnership gets terminated because Double 11 is responsible for the port, which is actually the support studio for Fallout 76 now.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm not too surprised that they decided to take the very easy road with this. They tried to not just do a port, and it was a massive, massive controversy that dominated all of the holiday window for 2021.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it sucks. And I don't know if Rockstar's really, or Take-Two, sorry, is going to take a massive L for this, because they're going to make a lot of money. And when what we're going to talk about next comes around, they're going to make even more money.
Yeah, because again, that's the disheartening part when the sales don't reflect, what I'm saying? And if you're the finance guy, you're like, well, look, we sold 10 million. What are you talking about? Like, who cares what they think? Like, look, because this is where gamers, again, we talk, and a lot of us don't actually. We bend the knee in the middle of the hype cycle, the start of the hype cycle. You see everybody playing it, and you bend the knee. So that's what I think is going on here, and that's why it is imperative that we stand on it. Like, to me, that's unacceptable. But we'll talk about the next thing. What's going on too.
Yeah. So let's get into that. Take-Two has indicated that GTA 6 may possibly release by March 2025. Quote, "We remain confident that we are positioning our business for a significant inflection point in fiscal 2025, which we believe will include new record levels of operating performance," Take-Two CEO and chairman Strauss Zelnick said in a statement. So, record levels, Cog. Mm-hmm. What could ever push them to that height? Was it Bully 2 finally? Is it I would love Bully 2, but yeah, GTA 6, right? Come on.
We saw the leaks. We saw the leaks, and we know it's coming. Oh yeah, it's going to be massive for them. I can't take that away from it. It will be huge whenever that drops. If it's released by March 2025, it hits that financial point that they're looking for. This is the cash cow, and they will definitely make a huge impact in the game industry. That we can't take that away from the impact of Grand Theft Auto. There's a few games like that, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. These are those, industry paradigm shift kind of games that when they drop, the world stops. So yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I agree. So give it time. I'm sure it'll get announced next year with the 2025 release date, and the pre-orders will begin to roll in, and everyone will forget about that Red Dead Redemption port by then.
It'll be forgotten.
Modern Warfare 3 has been announced, and it's releasing November 10th. Please, everyone, try to be surprised. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, another one. They basically, had an extension of, what the current one was. It wasn't too surprising that, because I remember the talk was like, we weren't going to get one this year, that kind of energy. My whole concern is, when his ABK deal gets done? That's my concern. Because when the ABK gets done, I am very curious about this particular title.
It's been so quiet on that front, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. So, I mean, I think I don't know if we have it in the notes today, but I think New Zealand or somebody
New Zealand did,
approved it.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think
is it really? You can tell me I'm not doing my job, and I totally understand. But I'm like, is it really like what? What are we gaining from that? Like, hey, it's been approved.
Yeah, like
anyway.
Trust me, I'm glad it's not in those. I'm totally fine with mentioning it off the cuff. But
give our audience a break, Exactly. Let y'all recover a bit.
Let them recover. We had had enough of the talk, the acquisition talk for a little bit. Yeah. But I am curious with this title. Let's just say the deal gets done this month. Next month, right? We don't the thought process is before the October extension deadline. They just gave themselves a buffer. So if it's done then, what happens? I'm of the theory that
you think they're gonna just go for it right away, right? Day one Game Pass, November 10th. See you there.
What really changed my thought process was Indiana Jones. I was finding out that it was like, oh no, it's going to be exclusive. I thought for sure that was going to be multi-plat.
I never thought that. That's interesting.
I
was like, why would they ever give that away? It's not even because it's popular. It's just like, I'll always go back to Spider-Man can be exclusive. Star Wars could probably be exclusive, but you're telling me Indiana Jones couldn't? And I like Indiana Jones, but you're telling me he couldn't? Come on. Like, that's how I look at it.
My only trepidation, Maddie, was just like, well, maybe contractually it was done with Disney and they just could. I know that they wanted it, but when I saw the verbiage like, yeah, we got that, that's us, that it showed me more of an aggressive push to make content exclusive for the most part once they own it, which again, I don't have a problem with. You own it, you can do whatever you want. Now, Call of Duty is a different thing. We get that. But as far as this is concerned, I'm not surprised that they might be aggressive and say, hey, now that the deal is done and we own it, Game Pass. And I'm curious to see what that does, if it does happen. So pay attention to that title.
I like the prediction. Yeah, I could see that happening. Mm-hmm. Game Pass. It's $1 offer that you're all so familiar with, you freeloaders. Well, Xbox is cutting you off a bit. They're shortening your supply. It's now only going on for 14 days instead of 1 month. Look, we're going to sound like broken records, but we've said for a while, when Starfield starts coming around, you're going to see that leash tighten around your neck just ever so slightly. It's going to get shorter and shorter until they got you right by the collar. And this is just another step in that direction. Now, will we see evil villain Xbox when they start releasing games? And if they're really good, we'll have that conversation when it rolls around. Right now, these are things that they're doing. They're pretty much pressing any button without trying to aggravate the masses to pretty much say to you, why don't you just sign up for Ultimate at this point, right? We looked at Game Pass Core. Look at this. Look at Starfield, the Series S and its 1 terabyte version. Just feels like they're urging you to get that Ultimate. And they're trying to make it as easy as possible without twisting your arm about it. We'll see if this is reflected in a surge in subscribers down the stretch, but I know some people are calling them anti-consumer for this. What do you think of that?
Look, man, free lunch is over. Come on, we do this. This is no surprise. Like,
Free lunch.
Come on, bro. You remember free lunch back in the day? Like, you had to run. We get it. Like, you're in the acquisition phase. We get it. If anybody's thinking that this $1 thing is going to consistently land and like forever in perpetuity, you're fooling yourself. You try to get people to your service. That's how it works. You get them in with deals. And now the games are here. The games are here. So you know what? We not getting rid of it, but you ain't rocking for a whole month, especially as we get close to Starfield. Yeah. So you're going to get these 2 weeks to
2 weeks isn't enough to finish Starfield.
Exactly. You're going to get these smooth 2 weeks that you try to get out there in the frontier as best you can. You know you ain't going to finish it, and you ain't getting a month with it. So it's the Starfield tax. Look, they got games now, bro. Bro, I know how it is when you got games now. You feeling yourself. I know what it is. You feeling yourself. I expected it. This is no surprise. We're at that point where we're supposed to get that consistent output, of games for us. It's coming. We know it. We know the whole
price
thing.
Bump.
So, yeah, price bump.
It's happening.
This is what happens now. This was the moment I knew where we're going to get to, and we are here now.
Yes. Wrestlequest. Really interesting situation here behind the scenes. Delayed to August 22nd. Now, what's really strange about this is I got a review code for this, and the embargo lifted on the 9th. I didn't get time to play this. I dedicated most of my attention to Atlas Fallen and Baldur's Gate 3. But the day the embargo lifted, they announced a delay that pushed them back a couple of weeks now to, again, August 22nd. So apparently this was due to a save bug that they had discovered across all platforms. Okay. So they had knocked it back, which that has to sting because overall the game reviewed pretty well. It was just one GameSpot review gave it a 4. Which was
what did they say? You remember what the gist of it kind of was?
A lot of people are having issues with the gameplay loop, from what I've read, and I've put not much time into it, so I'm not going to comment on it too much from my personal experience. Just a lot of people are like not a fan of like the pinfall situation, and they think that the dungeons are a little bit annoying because you have to like re-navigate them whenever you leave, and overall it becomes exciting at first, but it's very taxing by the middle and end point of the game. That's how I understand it. So combined with kind of those solid reviews, but some middling and then a delay, I do worry a bit for this game because there was a lot of excitement going into launch for it.
I'm pulling for Mega Cat, they're passionate wrestling guys, passionate, JRPG, and
best I'm definitely all time, man. Best PAX booth of all time.
Oh, bro, that PAX, there's nothing better than that. Like we was in the rings, cutting spots, like it was lit. Like salute to them. I'm pulling for them, obviously, but yeah, the situation is what the situation is. I'm glad that they are delaying it to get rid of a big bug. That's huge. Yeah. I plan on being there, and get my hands on it and seeing as I go on if I encounter as it gets deep. Because what I played the demo was fun. I really enjoyed it. But again, as you go deeper, more hours in, then things will reveal itself, and we'll see, once I get a hold of it. So
agreed.
Hopefully the bugs and stuff get squashed out.
Antstream Arcade. We got a couple of updates here that I just wanted to throw out there for the audience. They've added a faster browsing experience, some bug fixes, and the ability to remap controls for every single title in their 1,400 plus game library, and will soon be coming to Australia and Brazil, with more countries to follow in the coming months and years. So they're expanding. They seem to be doing really well. Again, full disclosure, I did a sponsored video for this, but it's a really cool service that I think a lot of people who like older retro games would enjoy. So just some updates on that. Being able to remap controls for every game is absolutely a great choice there. So that's really good that that's finally been added. But have you had a chance to check this one out yet?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I keep forgetting. I got to try this trailer. I still haven't tried it.
You'd love it. This has your name written on it.
This is so me. I know it's me. I was like, I got it. I keep forgetting it. Again, with the travel, I've been kind of living with my ally, and I haven't really got a chance to, because I want to do that at home. I really want to take advantage of it at home. So that's what it is. So yeah, I'll probably fire this up this week. Get it done.
Nick Baker of Xbox Era reports that an Xbox Series X with no disk drive is set to arrive in 2024, with more other hardware on the way. Sean Mason writes in, "Greetings, Dukes. Given the emerging rumor about the potential development of a digital-only Series X, coupled with Xbox's approach when it comes to their distribution of first-party physical games, it becomes quite conceivable to envision a scenario where physical media might fade into obsolescence by the end of this console generation. How do you perceive the role of physical media in the future of gaming this generation, considering the advancements in digital distribution? Do you think we could see Xbox or PlayStation ditching physical media before this generation ends? Best, Sean M." Thank you, Sean, for writing in. So this is interesting, is it not? This isn't really a tug of the leash here, but another way to get people into that Game Pass bundle, right? They put all those various games on the front of your digital-only console, and they're like, you don't need to buy boxes. You just got to pay $15 a month or whatever the price is by that point in time. And you get this whole library of games. I think this is something that probably should have existed in the first place, in my opinion, just having a digital only, more powerful version of the other digital only SKU you have in the Series S. But that's just my 2 cents on it. What do you make of all this, Cog?
Yeah, this is a tough one for them to navigate, because on one end, I'm pro Game Pass, I'm pro, consumer. I'm always going to look for the consumer. I am a consumer. That's what I'm looking at first. And it's not close that it's the best deal in gaming. To me, it's not even close. The first party lineup, all the things they add to it, so on and so forth. But in, full transparency, honestly, you've had this discussion, especially with Retro Rebound and everything you do. And there's a huge part of me that's about game preservation as well. And it is in direct conflict. Right. That's the thing. It is in direct conflict. And, me and King have had this joke, because he believes like PlayStation's, eventually going to become an app and all this stuff, and they won't make consoles anymore. And I'm like, nah. I said, honestly, the organization that would do that first, in my opinion, is Xbox. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that last generation, they've had so much of a negative pushback on doing an only digital SKU that I think the PR, it just doesn't really look good for them optic wise to say, hey, we're abandoning that, because this was part of the things that doomed Xbox One, right? People were like, whoa, what do you mean we can't play physical media? And, the used games thing, it was the messaging and stuff like that. Look, the way the games industry is going, it does look like it is going this way overall. Long term, I don't know, to Sean's question, is it going to, this is the generation? I'm not sure. But it comes down to the metrics. And this is what I tell people. And I remember having this conversation, I think with Jason, someone I had it with. And I remember when the Xbox Series consoles came out. And remind you, I'm the living room guy, Maddie. I'm the guy, the Dolby Atmos and the Sonos Arc and 7.1 and 5.1. I was that Dolby Digital Theater sound guy. Okay. Right? So when I see the Series X console, the first thing I do is I look to the back. I'm ready to set up. I'm like, oh, where's the optical out that I need to put in for my Dolby Digital? Not there. And it crushed me. I'm like, yo, how could Xbox do this? Is stupid. What are they doing? Like, I'm raging, right? And like, the metrics are shown to me at how small of percentage actually game the way I do, right? And it blew me away. So I had to learn about this thing called, HDMI through eARC, which is you use an HDMI port for your sound system and my sound bar, right? My Sonos Arc, and it's amazing sound. But that's, what more people were using. They weren't using the old school in my mind, traditional way. So basically, I'm saying this example to say this, which is that they have the metrics on the physical stuff, right? And they may see, hey, people are Game Pass digital. They have no problem with Hi-Fi Rush with a surprise drop. Ain't no disc, right? Nobody said nothing. We like, oh,
I wouldn't complain if it was on disc.
I feel that. Listen, I'm mad. You know I'm with you. So I think the issue comes down to optics, pushback, metrics, what they have, and can they get away with that? I don't know, man. And the last thing I'll say is this. The reason why I am concerned with them is that we got Halo as an example. We got that disc and we saw what that disc really did, right? We saw when you insert it, can you truly play these games offline? And I have to give I have to give Nintendo and PlayStation credit here, right? Whereas we hear rumors, their new system, most likely still going to be cartridge. You know what I'm saying? And then, we still with PlayStation, a lot of the single player, you can still play offline. Not that you can't play any Xbox games offline, but it's getting harder. It's getting hard. And then, how I know for a fact is that with the Ally, in order to do X, I have to go tell the Ally as a Windows PC, I have the rights to this to play offline. Tell PC Game Pass, hey, I want to play this offline. Yes, I can do it, but there were a bunch of steps that the average guy is going to struggle, be like, yo, I don't have any internet right now. How come I can't get into the Game Pass and play the games I want on my handheld Xbox-like mini console, portable, right? So these discussions are happening. And to me, it's going to dictate how consumer trends move. So it's a good question, Sean.
If I'm Xbox, don't take that shot first. Don't be the one who ends physical media. Just don't. After the Xbox One, don't be that. Let PlayStation be the one to sunset it. Okay? Let them have the honor. Okay? You follow suit. Do not be the one to lead the charge here because your DRM already fucking blows. And now you're going to be the one who's like, yeah, and because of Game Pass, we're done with this. We're no longer, it's like, oh man, I could just see the shit show now. Like I hope that when that day comes, I don't even know if they'll announce it. I think it's going to be kind of like Alan Wake. You're going to see like one or two here or there saying like, oh, it was easier to produce in a digital only format. So in this case, like you mentioned, Hi-Fi Rush. So yeah, when Xbox inevitably pulls that trigger, just make sure PlayStation already took the shot first.
Make sure. So you want it like a $70 game? Let them go first. And
if I'm Xbox, yeah. I mean, why put yourself out there? PlayStation can suffer the blow. I don't think it'll kill Xbox, but like, why run into that same brick wall of game preservation twice when you have a CEO who's a self-proclaimed, I love preserving games, and he played a big factor in getting Antstream Arcade onto the platform, right? It's just such an obvious PR 101. Like, let's not step on a rake out here in the lawn. Let's not do this. So
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
I feel like, given their actions, I feel like they will strike first.
Their ecosystem, we got to be honest, is geared towards removing physical. We got to be, if Game Pass continues to grow and you get hundreds of millions of subscribers who are on Game Pass, now you got a digital, let's say, shout out to Special Nick, let's say whatever Special Nick is saying, exactly what it is. There's a digital only Series X and people are buying that more. I mean, this is the gift and the curse with this. Now, this to me, when people talk about fearing stuff, these are the conversations we need to be having. Not all this, the consolidate. Look, I get that part, but these are the conversations because at the end of the day, me and you, Maddie, we are very passionate about this. If some of aliens landed and they go 20 years from now, tell me what Titanfall was. Tell me what, and we can't come up with any way, the servers don't exist, right? We can't come up with any way to replicate these experiences. Tell me what Marvel Heroes was. Doesn't exist, right? You can't, right? See? Like, aliens come in, they would have no idea what we're talking about, but these games are great. So where are they, human? How can I learn about your culture and your history? This video game thing you're talking about. You have no records. What do you mean? This is what we are. This is the discussion people need to be rocking with Retro Rebound. You need to be supporting my man. These are the true concerns of the industry. Not this, I'm worried about, saving money now. Like, come on. Again, let me stop. There are some people with legitimate concerns. I don't mean to put everybody in the box. Cog is just being a little silly. But we do need to have these conversations.
I agree. Last little bit of news here before we get into what we're playing. Layoffs following the Callisto Protocol have hit striking distance studios and Krafton. And here's what they say. They have implemented strategic changes that realign the studio's priorities to better position its current and future projects for success. Unfortunately, these changes have impacted 32 employees, honoring the invaluable contributions of each departing member with material support in the form of outplacement services and meaningful severance packages is our top priority during this difficult moment. And this stings to see because, I was really hoping Callisto Protocol wasn't going to be the miss it was. Especially because like Dead Space is now the remake is great. It's a little bit of an easier pill to swallow, but just having that competitor to Dead Space or one that could have a series of its own, I imagine that's very unlikely now. So I don't know what their next move is going to be, but this sucks to see nonetheless. Whether or not we get our Dead Space like game, it still stings to see. So what do you make of this, dude? Like 32 people laid off. They say material support as in severance packages, outplacement services. So how do you feel about that?
This is tough, man. This is the the unfortunate reality of this business. And video games, man, making them is hard, bro. It really is. It really makes and the risk involved. We all saw Callisto at first. We like, yo, you know what I'm saying? This got a shot to be that that space kind of pocket. And, it came up with very, middling reviews. A lot of people didn't feel it hit. Some people did like it, but, overall the consensus wasn't like super strong. So again, shout out to the team, for the people who got the packages and hopefully they land on their feet somewhere else. But this is what I just try to remind people, and again, I'm not going to get too crazy with the load acquisition bag, but I just want to remind people making video games is very difficult. When you have a studio, you put all this money and these resources and you don't hit those targets, right? These are the realities, especially sometimes you're not afforded that sequel to course correct. And you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't have that backing behind you, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. So yeah, shout out because I saw the potential here. And I just hope that, the studio doesn't go away, and that we still get more from them. And that this is just like a smaller restructuring as a result. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, best wishes to those who lost their jobs and hopefully they land swiftly on their feet and absolutely. With the severance package just have enough time to find a new place
to find the next move. Yeah, absolutely.
Apologies if you hear my dog squeaking in the background. Heaven forbid he just barks. It sounds like a squeaky toy. I don't know if it's making it through the microphone, but just in case anyone's hearing it.
You good.
Now it's time to move on to what we're playing. Cog. Yeah. Interesting selection here from you, sir.
Yeah, light week for me. Obviously, like I said, I was at GCX, I'm traveling, but I had a ton of time with my ally. And there was one game that I was playing a while back, and I was like, all right, let me get back to it because I haven't ran it on the Ally, which was Ghostwire Tokyo, you know. So I fired Bad Boy back up, and I remember like I was halfway through where I was at. And I gotta admit, man, like it's something about this game that when I start playing it, I can't stop. And I was trying to put my finger on why I'm so, obviously we know the game has its faults, from a performance standpoint. Like when it rains at night, it looked kind of jaggy. It's very rough, anti-aliasing energy. And this is not Ally. There's no indictment on Ally. Like Ally runs smooth, it runs great. Like, but I remember this on console, and I remember some of the rough edges. But there is times, Maddie, where this game is absolutely gorgeous, and there are times when like this game really does Japanese horror well. And as a kid, my Sega heads will remember this. There was this game I played as a kid called Consated. And I didn't know what it was. It had like a samurai on the box. And Lil Cog was like, oh, it's going to just be a samurai ninja game. It's going to be. And I remember seeing this thing and like Japanese horror with deities and yokai and all these things. I've never seen imagery like that. So it really blew me away. And there's something about Ghostwire Tokyo's enemy selection, these very stoic, non-speaking, faceless things that are coming at you really fast. Then these creatures, these spiritual demons. It does make you, it's unsettling. And it makes me uncomfortable, but it's an uncomfortability that I still want to play. And I still want to know what's lurking around the corner in this big city. So I've been really getting into it. As far as my powers, I've upgraded all my major skills, which is my fire, doing my little signals, and I got my little fire thing, and I've upgraded that. The skill tree now I'm really getting deeper with, and this thing runs amazing on the rock, bro. It really does. So I think I'm close to the end. I think I'm really close. I just fought some like crazy boss where I got separated. So basically it's KK, who you are, and then Akito, who you are, and KK is the spirit that is in your body that basically needs to keep you alive. And there's this evil mass ninja kind of guy who's running around amassing souls. Everybody's dead. and the souls, and that's the thing about it. It has a play on the afterlife, because what happens is there's some souls that are still in the city that haven't been able to pass on. And sometimes you have to do quests for them to kind of let their soul go. But the end game is to kind of get everybody to come back and get alive and stop this guy from doing his evil plan. So yeah, I'm like really deep, and I think it's 6 total chat. I think I'm very close. I think I'm like 4 or 5. I'm getting close to the end, but I couldn't stop playing it. And as a result, I was going to start Baldur's Gate. I did fire it up, but I didn't want to put Baldur's Gate in here because I literally spent 2 hours at the character screen, and we'll get into that when you talk about Baldur. Bro, I might as well just transition right now, but I wanted to give Ghostwire the send off because I knew what was going to happen. But Baldur's Gate, shout out to Addict, who's been, oh my God, such an enabler. So you're going to try it, you go. And I'm like, I know what's going to happen. I don't want to start it right now because I'm like, it's so close to Starfield. But then another part of me was like, finish Ghostwire, you right there. Don't start it. So I stood strong. Maddie, I stood strong a whole week and a half. I was strong. I'm like, all right. Then the reviews coming out, your review. I'm like, damn, this look like a card game. I'm like, oh, it's turn-based. So I'm like, okay, but wait. I was like, you good, Carl? Wait, you can wait on the Xbox version. Good. It's delayed. You good. Ain't no need to rush. You can hold strong. But then, damn Addict. So I was like, he's like, so you ain't pick it up? I was like, nah, I'm good. He's like, well, they got, cross progression and the cross. I was like, oh. So I said, if I pick it up on Steam and then I go to the server and eventually on any platform, if I could play it on PlayStation, whatever. He's like, yeah, it's going to be able to go back and forth on the Larian server. So like a Diablo energy. So I said, wait a minute though. So I was like, yeah, but you probably got to do like Diablo. You got to be always online. Nah, you can play it offline, Cock. I'm like, damn it. They answered all the questions I was trying to stall. So I sat there for 2 hours and I made some like dark dwarf who's like really beefy. I got the beefy.
Lord Beefy?
Yeah, Lord Beefy. He's got this darkness thing where he can see through like his darkness ability. Then I made him a monk, so he's got the little kung fu thing going on. Like it's so much to the skills, and I love games like this when it really dives deep into character building. And then I gotta have my speech and my charm because I want to be able to go through conflicts. But look, I played very little of it, so I don't want to say like I bad played the game. But for what I've played, man, this game is something. It is. First of all, you have the turn-based elements, which I like. They have a unique take on it. First of all, it runs fantastic on the Ally. Got it at 1080, 30.
I got to try it on handheld. That's
full controller support.
Cross my mind.
Full controller support.
Yeah.
Holding down the buttons, going through my menu, stuff like that. What I'm learning is jumping first into the action with the jump, and then you have that extra action skill point, and then to do what I kind of want with that. I'm loving that. This is a horny game. You can get it popping. I know Maddie don't like this, but you can listen, man, you can get it popping. And then you can really get it popping on that. But what it does is it's like all my turn-based sensibilities, all my RPG sensibilities, they just got a little Dragon Age, Mass Effect kind of point check with a little bit of Disco Elysium. Then you got the dice roll and the D&D in it. And then these cutscenes where they look good, man, it's not that bad looking on the eyes. I'm very impressed. So
I'm telling you, bro.
I know I haven't scratched the surface, but Baldur's Gate 3, man, very impressive. And they sold me with their feature set. So shout out to Larian for for sticking by their guns and wanting to have all these things in it. And I get it with the co-op. Like they like, yo, we want this, to have a local co-op for Series S. So I'm be able to play it. My goal now, still finish Tokyo. Once that's done, rock out. I'll probably rock Baldur's Gate all the way to Starfield. Now, when Starfield comes, I'm sorry. Love you, but everything stops with Starfield. But the
Totally
cool
fair.
thing, once Series S version situation gets solved, hey, I can come right back in there. But the cool thing is I can still play Baldur's Gate on the go. So it doesn't mean Baldur's Gate is really going to stop, and I like that. But what do you think? I don't know where you're at. Let me know what's going on.
Yeah, it's been my main jam this week. I been playing Baldur's Gate.
You made an elf, didn't you? Let me go.
I did make an elf, yes.
Which elf? You did high elf? Which one? Which
did
elf?
A wood elf.
Wood elf.
So yeah, wood elf ranger.
So,
he's
a ranger.
I can communicate with beasts. I can summon all types of beasts like boars and wolves and ravens. It's
cool. Being that you can talk to the beast, you're gonna be doing anything else with the beast?
No, we don't do that here.
Just want to make sure because you got that ability. I just want to
no.
Okay, cool.
Firmly meat firmly placed in the pants right now.
No meat on the table for the beast. Fair.
But this game has been just a real treat, man. Like, we'll talk about the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and the numbers it's seeing in our news section, but just as someone who's tracked Larian since Divinity Original Sin 1, it's amazing to see their success only because I get a little bit nostalgic for that game now. Like, I remember finding it, and it's like this secret game that's so good, respects your choices, has wonderful music, tough combat, highly interactive world. And I just remember finding that in summer of 2014. It was like, I think after my first year at college, I was just like so enamored by the game. I made a review of it. You can find me with my like baby face just talking about it. And I get nostalgic playing this game for that time. I'm like, wow, I'm proud of them. I'm like, they've made it. They've made it. And with Baldur's Gate 3, what's incredible about them making it here is they sacrificed nothing to get to this point. And I say all of that to set it up because this game has kicked the shit out of me unapologetically. I played for 5 hours in co-op last night, and I didn't level up once. I didn't complete a quest once. I died a ton of times, and I had a lot of fun. I had so much fun.
Question I have to ask, because from a co-op standpoint, I don't know if you talked about it last time. Like, how does the co-op work? As a co-op guy, like, how does it work in this game? Like, tell me your experiences with it for if I want to get my co-op, because I'm trying to sell a friend on it as well. Yeah. And we're brand new, so I want someone new, kind of. I know Addict will join me. So, like, tell me how to really get this co-op popping. I don't know anything about the co-op.
Low key, I think Larian games are best in co-op. Like, you can, the beauty of them is you can play by yourself, and they are made, like, you hear a lot of developers say, you can play online with a friend, but don't worry, we didn't forget about the single player, and it's usually a load of shit. Kind of Redfall energy, right?
We kind of went through that.
Right. But I'm not lying when I say Larian has actually delivered on that consistently with all of their games. Like, I've played every single game they've released in full co-op completely. I think their games are best that way. So Baldur's Gate 3, the beauty of it is I was level 4 and my buddy was level 4, and I was like, okay, where are you at? We compared journals. So he was like, all right, I'll hop into your server. Now, when your friend joins, you don't carry over your character. He makes a new one. But what's great about the game is he didn't really care about that. Because he's like one of those dudes who doesn't get attached to his created character, which worked in my favor. I'm the opposite. I'm like,
I'm the opposite.
It's like, no, I don't just make another Wood Elf Ranger. Like, I just don't do that. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, that was the Wood Elf Ranger. Now I got to make someone different. We're going to waste a ton of time. So I don't have to convince him of any of that. So he hops in. Okay. And when you load in, because I was level 4, he starts level 1, but it gives him 4 levels up. So he can hop in, start playing with me right away.
Nice.
The reason this is great is you get someone else to kind of manage other party members. So let's say a conversation's going a bit south and you smell a fight coming.
Yeah.
Your friend can exit conversation, and you can start running around, positioning everyone properly.
Okay.
And it's something people forget about. You can do this in Divinity, but the difference is Divinity, everything's happening from the sky. So you'll see the soldiers creep in and start setting up. But here in this game, because it's more cinematic, the production value is higher. I've forgotten, as someone who's played these games sometimes, I forget. I'm like, yo, I can pop out and start moving Karlak to the front lines, move the Ranger up top or whatever. and get ready to fight because I know it's going to go down now. But what's great is having a second party member to manage that adds to it. They get to do their own set of skill checks. They give you bonuses for your skill checks. It lets you divvy up the loot, diversify the party. There's, of course, with a game with so many choices, there's nothing more fun than sitting there and going, yo, what do we do? And having a discussion on like what the fork in the road, which way you're going to go is.
So you can't, it's not like As Dusk Falls where it's like two people pick different things. And
no, you can. Yeah.
So then what happens? How does the game?
So we have yet to have that moment.
Okay.
But if it's like in Divinity Original Sin 2, I think it usually comes down to a dice roll, and whoever rolls the best, their choice.
So D&D it is. Oh, that's kind of fire. That's fun.
So you kind of like can overrule, like, no, we're doing it. You can have that. Usually we move in unison, and we have yet to not do that.
Agree. Okay. So, I got you.
You can have those disagreements where like you can highlight the option you want to pick your portrait for, like for me, my Steam portrait will pop up right next to the dialogue option. So it'll be like, oh, Matt picked this. His will be something else.
Gotcha.
So that's how you indicate like who picked what. And
final co-op question.
Go ahead.
I'm being a pest because I'm so curious. When does that? Because like I said, I just started. I barely got out the damn character credit. Did a few things running around. But when does that ability to join each other? Is it like you got to get to level this, and then it's like when is that ability someone can just come through?
I think you can do it right off the bat.
Right off the bat? Okay.
I'm pretty sure you can do it right off the rip, dude. Yeah, which is awesome about the game. Like, it's just the beauty of the game, if anyone couldn't tell by just listening in, is they thought of everything. And that's the early access usually has a little bit of a stink to it. But when you have a good early access, like Baldur's Gate 3 did, you learn a lot from the community, you implement that feedback, and you just make a game that has an answer to any problem you have, pretty much. And it's incredible. So yeah, it's been a ton of fun, dude. Like every session has its own story. And the fact that I can double back into this game, because Lockmore's been playing it, the fact that I can double back into this game and see completely different things that he's been sharing with me, his playthrough, I'm seeing stuff that I never knew existed.
Yeah, that's so
and it's crazy. And he's doubled back, I think, twice now. And he's just showing me clips. And I'm like, this game is dense. And what's insane about that is I thought with the upped production value, maybe there would be a sacrifice there. And I think the biggest sacrifice that no one's really talking about is the dialogue choices. There are conversations you'll have where you can pick like 5, 6 options, but most times it's 2 or 3, which I'm okay with because you get incredible animation. I feel like the way they capture the movement. I don't know. You haven't got beyond the character creator screen. I want you to see it so bad because I got to know if I'm crazy. I think this is some of the best I've ever seen. Just the way they
emoting, the way they talk to each other. I got out and I was moving around.
Okay. So you saw like
howling,
the
howling, head snapping. I'm like, yo, this is very emotive.
It's than so I'm used to. Believable. And it does so much for the game. And I thought when they made that type of jump, you'd see them trim everything off. But again, I can't emphasize enough how little they sacrificed to get to this point. And when you look at Original Sin 2 and then this, it's just a night and day difference. It's crazy. It's on like the same engine too. So it's super impressive. Right. So I just continue to love on Baldur's Gate 3 and PlayStation fans listening to this should be absolutely on your radar. Do not sleep on it. Even if it's your first time, the game will kick the shit out of you, but it's worth the ride. It's worth the ride. It's one of the best RPGs that's come out in years.
Yeah, easily. PlayStation pre-orders are crazy right now with this.
People as they should be.
Yeah, no, that's good. And to see, listen, Lord Turn-Based is just proud. That's why I had to support too. I was like,
they're winning.
It's like, I know you want to do the right thing and keep doing, finishing up backlog, but it's like, this is Turn-Based getting a level of love. And now, out of nowhere in Game of the Year style discussions, it's overthrown Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in meta.
Yeah. It's got way less reviews, but
true. Fair enough.
I think it'll sit around the same, if not surpass it still.
this is special stuff. We got to be like, this doesn't happen in turn-based. Like, I'm so proud.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's turn-based. It's Dragon Age. It's D&D. It's all these things in one. And to this, shout out to Larian, man. I'm really proud of them, and I love that they're sticking by their guns with the style of game that they want. And I'm just glad to see people giving it the love and attention that it deserves. So yeah, salute.
The other game I've been playing this week is Atlas Fallen. This is the other game I was reviewing. This comes from Deck 13, developers of the original Lords of the Fallen, not the new one coming out this year, and I think October, as well as the Surge 1 and 2. And the Surge 2, I think, is just such an overlooked Souls-like game that's so cool. Like, if y'all like sci-fi and you like Dismemberment and you like Souls-like, please play the Surge. It's such a cool series. But they made this game Atlas Fallen. For those who don't know what that is, it's the game about a dude sand surfing around, right? It's the open world sand surfing game with high action combat.
Oh no.
For every good thing I have to say, there's a bad thing kind of attached to it. It's not a bad game. It's definitely it's the definition of a by the books, Mr. Matty wait for a sale type verdict. Like,
okay.
That's what I was just feeling the whole time. I was like, wow, this is such a wait for a sale. It's almost kind of like scary. It's like my review system became a science. So what I mean by that is like the movement, the point A to point B feels good. Like you're surfing around. There's a flow. They give you a lot of air dashes. You can really get around. But there's 1,000,001 invisible walls. There's a very cagey world. So you don't really get into a flow. You just look like you are. They kind of want to have I called it in my review, the journey experience. Like you see a big vista in the distance and you're just kind of this small little ant sailing your way towards that. And there's something kind of zen about that. For me though, with how good the movement could feel, it never truly captured what I thought it was capable of. So that was kind of a letdown for me. Combat. This is so deep, bro. There's so many mechanics attached to it. But at the same time, it hurts itself because of how much is going on. So you have a momentum bar. As you hit an enemy, long story short, you're going to build up this blue gauge. And the gauge is separated into 3 tiers. So underneath those tiers are little squares. You get this thing called a gauntlet early in the game. You find these things called essence stones. You insert them into your gauntlet. And effectively, those blocks that are beneath the momentum gauge are, we'll say, passives or abilities that you unlock as you build momentum. So think of it this way. When you start a fight, you're going to have no momentum, and you can't just drop abilities like that. You have to fight and scrap, build up that momentum, and then spend it. However, as you build the momentum, the enemies get stronger. So you don't want to stack it too high. Otherwise, you're going to get smacked around, which happened to me quite a few times. Like you'll get dismantled. But that's how you get access to your best abilities. So what happens is that's like a really kind of unique setup, I think, for an action combat system. I actually really like the mechanics there. What happens is the mechanics of the enemies aren't that interesting and the game kind of stumbles upon itself. So what'll happen is every boss in the game that I encountered would do the same thing where they'd have one move they repeat endlessly, and you do a thing called sand skin, which is the game's version of a parry. And if you landed 3 parries in a row, you would crystallize them, which pretty much just freezes them for a few seconds and you just hit on them and then rinse and repeat. After their health bar gets to a certain place, they spit out mob enemies, right? These little creatures that pester you. Now, the camera's pulled really far out, and it shows to me that they were self-aware that this would be an issue. But what ends up happening, dude, is you constantly get flanked by these enemies you can't see and you can't react to. So because the enemies that you fight that are boss-like are so big,
massive,
that the camera fits you and them. If it's just that, it works great. But oftentimes the camera's pulled so far out and you just get enemies sneaking up on you and hitting you and breaking your flow. And especially when you're building momentum, you're like, okay, I'm in a rhythm now. And you get hit by a dude you can't even see. It's like, man, and you die. You're like, man, I couldn't do anything about that. So it starts to lack balance. It's a really good mechanical setup with flawed execution. And so you have, again, this very tug of war like experience. And the story, it's not nonsensical by any stretch, but it's not interesting. It's got Forspoken vibes. I say that with all due respect.
Like cringy
No,
dialogue.
not in my opinion.
Vibes?
Not in my opinion.
Okay.
But definitely Forspoken vibes. Like you find a wrist accessory. Your wrist accessory talks a lot. There's a setting in the game to quiet down your wrist accessory.
Okay.
Your wrist accessory is the key to the lore in the world. Like you're about free running in an open world. I'm like,
I get you.
Check. Right? Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
they really lined them up and knocked them down there. But it's definitely, the dialogue's not as bad in the terms of what they're saying. Like it can actually be kind of interesting if you care about the world, but the voice work is so subpar. It really is. Like the MC sounds so disinterested. Niall, the name of the dude in your gauntlet, just very monotone. Some of the cutscenes that play out are awkward. Like there'll be massive things happening, but it's almost like Divinity Original Sin energy, but it's fine because that's how the whole game is structured. It doesn't have cutscenes, but like you'll have these times where you're talking to a character and they're delivering like a massive moment in the game. It's just a floating camera that you can rotate around and just see speech bubbles popping up on the bottom of the screen. But the game has cutscenes where it feels higher production value. So it's, again, very back and forth type of game. Not a long game by any means, but not one that I felt remotely attached to. And I had to say, definitely a game I'm going to forget. Like there's just nothing there that really stuck with me other than like, hey, couple cool mechanics. And I don't think they really executed on that properly. So back to Baldur's Gate 3 I go.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
There it is. You gave it a shot, you know. Yeah, it looked like a little cool potential, but you know, we'll see how the rest of the community feels about it as well. But yeah,
it's got co-op. I didn't get to test it in co-op, and I brought that up in my review. So in fairness, could be something there, maybe.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right, Cog. Got a bunch of warm-up questions here. So let's fire them up. We're talking about Starfield a lot this episode because that's what the community wants to know. We're not that far away.
Getting close.
So let's begin with Brian Wagers, who has that same energy. Hey, Dukes, we are less than a month out from Starfield, and it feels like the entire gaming ecosystem is buzzing about it. But from a business standpoint, how many sales of the game does Starfield need to be considered a success for Microsoft? Thanks, Brian. Brian, we appreciate you writing in. So, Cog, we know Microsoft doesn't really operate in the sales department when it comes to success metrics. They talk about player count. However, humor me, would you? If you were to take a shot from the hip, sales-wise, what does Xbox need to be like, that was worth it? I feel like there's no number, right? Only because they bought the company partially because of this game. They've built their whole 2023 and 2022 around this game. And I don't think this game's going to make, was it $7.5 million? Or I don't think they're going to get that back from them, right? So I just, or did I say million? Billion?
Good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get that back out of them. And I think the success for them is going back to that Phil quote. If Starfield is the most played BGS game ever, which is a huge mountain to climb with Skyrim in the way, that will consider it a success for them. And that'll probably make Bethesda feel very comfortable about Game Pass moving forward if they can do something about it, which is why I think a lot of fans are concerned about no marketing push right now for Starfield, because we want to see them climb that mountain. But Cog, for you, what do you need for Starfield to be a success of your Xbox?
The game has to rate good. Bottom line. You know, it just has to rate
let
good.
It be a 90, y'all.
Yeah, like if shit, don't let it be. You know, I might have to make a shirt. Don't let it be a 90. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll make the shirt will be like, y'all let it be a 90. But you know, we'll see what happens. But no, like it has to rate good. It has to be a high quality Xbox exclusive. This title has a lot coming into it. It's probably one of the most anticipated titles since, gotta be honest, since Halo. Like it's really on that level as far as how important it is to Microsoft. I think the gauge is going to be how many Game Pass subscribers attach themselves at the Starfield release. We talked about our little internal bet with the 5-day early access or whatever it is. They should get, some substantial money there. I know you went real big, you know what I'm saying? I think you went 10, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I went, 4. But like to me, this is about that subscription attachment rate. How many people get an Xbox? How many people, more importantly, because the way Xbox is moving, it's about what ecosystem you play it on, right?
Mhm.
So the key metrics for me are how many Game Pass subscribers, how many PC Game Pass subscribers specifically who circumvent Steam, because we know Steam is huge and they're going to want that Steam money. Don't get me wrong. They're going to love, because it's still one of the most highest anticipated Steam games still right now, as far as pre-orders and all that other stuff. The engagement is extremely high on Steam. But the key is going to be, like I said, the people who go, you know what? I can get it on PC Game Pass right now. I ain't got to spend, right? How much does that drive? And again, ultimately, it's tied to the success of this quality game. If the Metacritic is high and it's really received for the most part as a strong release, that's going to be big for them. And that could potentially start a jump start of, okay, you need to have an Xbox now. This is potentially genre defining. Like you see the energy Baldur's Gate is getting right now. If they had anything close to what Baldur's Gate is doing right now, that is a slam dunk. And we'll talk about marketing. We'll talk about all this stuff, but that's the marketing. The zeitgeist of people saying, yo, this is it. Right? And that's what and that changes the conversation, changes the perception of the Xbox brand. Thus, all the narratives kind of Xbox's quality, all that goes out if you have quality games.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it's received because there's a lot riding on it.
Oh yeah.
And we actually have a question. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit on our document here to Miko Bell.
Let's go, Nico.
What's good, Dukes? All right, Mr. Matty and Lord Cogmito. I got to know, does Bethesda just have bad luck? I remember when Fallout 4 came out, we were all hyped and thought hands down RPG game of the year. Then boom, Witcher 3 comes out to critical acclaim that year. I can't help but think lightning may have struck twice here with Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 launches. Not that Fallout 4, one of my favorite games, and Starfield aren't amazing games, but they end up releasing next to these genre-defining RPGs from studios that prior were relatively not popular to the mainstream gamers. Anyways, what say you, gentlemen, and have a just got a crazy pump at the gym listening to the latest Sacred Symbols episode kind of day. Shout out to you for that. That's awesome.
Salute health as well. That was a great one with Colin.
This was something that crossed my mind when I saw the numbers that Baldur's Gate 3 was doing. Immediately I went back to my head and thought, oh my God, this is just like The Witcher 3 and Fallout 4. And I bet Bethesda is someone at Bethesda has to be like not nervous or anything like that, but has to be like, oh boy, because what happened was, right? You had Fallout 4 sort of teed up for many people, but then The Witcher 3 comes out 6 months ahead of it, and it's the AAA RPG everyone's been looking for.
Yes.
And so a lot of that undercut Fallout 4 and what it did well because it was just more from BGS. Now with Baldur's Gate 3, it's that true, gritty, hardcore RPG that real gamers are looking for just a few weeks out from Starfield. Now, I'm of the mindset that this situation is entirely different from what's happening, or what happened, I should say, with Fallout 4 and The Witcher 3, because Fallout 4, I am like you, Miko, one of my favorite games too. I love that game, right? Just on a personal level, I do. That game has done so much for me as a creative, that has done so much for me as a career. I owe it a lot, no doubt about it. So it is one of my favorites too. But even I can say that there's a degree of Bethesda standing pat with that game, I feel, compared to their previous efforts. Whereas with Starfield, even if it's not as deep of an RPG, which I'm personally still not expecting it to be compared to Baldur's Gate 3, it's definitely not going to touch Baldur's Gate 3 in that department. I can promise you that. No fucking way. But with all they're also doing, the many planets, the spaceship traveling, that type of stuff shows to me that this isn't Bethesda standing pat, which I think was the biggest problem with Fallout 4. I think if Fallout 4 was an inferior game to The Witcher 3 that still tried new things, I actually don't think it would have got the smoke as bad as it did in that post-launch conversation. But I think because it was a safer game from them, quite frankly, in my opinion at least, it was a safer game, that's what bit them. Starfield doesn't scream to me safe, right? There's so many new things we haven't seen from BGS here. It's not to protect them here from getting, as some would say, upstaged by Larian. But if anyone's, to me, that just tells me, I don't mean to gatekeep here, that just tells me you just got here. If you're just finding out now that Larian's a better RPG developer than Bethesda Game Studios, you just got here. That's all there is to it. And that doesn't mean that I'm above you, but you just found that out. We've all known that for a while. Again, not to protect BGS, but that's been a fact since the first Divinity, as far as I'm concerned. But Cog, what do you make of this? Is Bethesda cursed?
It's a good one. It's good. I like this. I like this kind of stuff because I did think about this for a little bit. I was like, yo, Baldur's Gate, getting all this love, this RPG love, and it well deserved, right? And the thing is, the way I look at it with Baldur's Gate, we got to be clear. This is designed on the PC platform first, right? PlayStation will get it around the same time as Starfield's launch, right? Xbox is not getting it until after because of the Series S. They have to figure out what's going on with the split screen or whatever, right? And optimize at any one time. It's different. It's different because here's the thing. Starfield, not only is it not safe, right? We're talking safe. We're talking space. And we're talking all these different possibilities and this procedural generation stuff that we're not really known for. Not that they didn't do any, you know what I'm saying? But this is a bit of a risk and departure from the traditional, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Fallout thing that we kind of know them for. And I do think there's a lot. The Direct showed us all the possibilities of this game. Right. And there's still questions, right? We still got to know about the factions. We still got to know about, how deep it goes with the questing and stuff. We know that the faction quests seem really deep. They're really beating their chest like, yo, you thought the main story, you got to do this other stuff, right? Like they're beating their chest with that kind of stuff. But the way I look at it is that the Great Frontier captivates a whole different audience, bro. You're talking the Star Wars guy. You're talking the Space Odyssey guy. You're talking the Mass Effect guy. That's that is a big gaming cult. And may I say, no disrespect to Baldur's Gate's D&D. And I do worry, let's just put it this way, when it does come to PlayStation, right? Not that they won't accept it, but remember, turn-based guys, we have to fight. You get over here. This is hot, right? Midnight, get over here. XCOM, get over here. It's hot. Like, try it, please. Please try it, right? Because all they wanted was, let's be honest, #just1 and the big cinematic. Like, you know how dudes was doing. Like, that's all they wanted to do. So it's like, now it's like you said, you just got here. And I think it's going to do well. Don't get me wrong. But the difference is, boom, they are doing a space game multi-platform launch. Remember, PC getting this, Xbox getting this, right? Yeah. So that to me is the difference. And I still think it's going to command tremendous attention. And yeah, I'm not too worried in this case. You know what I'm saying? I think that both could coexist. I don't see anything like, oh my God, that they're out of here because Baldur's Gate is here as the definitive. As long as they rate well, they will be fine. Now, if you come out here and you bug Bethesda it, you know what I'm saying? You come out here and you fumble the bag, then that's a different conversation.
I don't free marketing for that game. I'll tell you what. That's just inevitable if they drop a buggy game. People are just going to. Though I will say, I forgot to mention this in the What We Played section. Baldur's Gate 3 it's been pretty buggy for me. That's like my biggest critique. If I were to say I have a problem with some issues. Pretty buggy game. Yeah.
What can I ask what experience issues you?
So one thing that had happened was just general quest bugs, which is I think the worst kind of bug. Like I'm maybe different for other people. I can deal with the visual bugs. Like I don't care if there's a little flickering on screen or whatever, like occasional, very rare screen tear or some like a texture not loading in the environment more likely. Like I don't lose my mind over that shit. But like when I'm barred from content, for example, or I can't access something, or an NPC isn't behaving how they're supposed to, or going to the place they're supposed to, and I can't experience the thing, it gives me anxiety while playing because I'm like, what? Okay, that was a side quest. what if the main quest breaks? Like I'm all in on this. Like what if something, it just gets me nervous about what's to come next while playing the game. Eventually that fades from the session, but I don't like that feeling of like, okay, I got to navigate the game's problems. I'm stepping on cracked eggshells here.
Got you. I got you.
And so, yeah, I had a couple of moments like that so far where, you know, again, I don't mind like I'm a huge BioWare fan, for God's sake. I know you are too. Like,
oh, hell yeah.
We're okay with the visual jank, the funny head rotation exercise behavior of Commander Shepard. That's all fine and good. It's when the quests start failing you.
Yeah.
That's when it's a technical problem in my eyes. So
no, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, the last point I want to say too is, and I think it's also be a great differentiator if we're going to go like this head-to-head matchup, so to speak, with Baldur's Gate and again, both could coexist, both could potentially be great games. But I do also, we have to be honest, like one of the hardest things as Lord Turn-Based, right, is to get a casual guy to say, hey, you know, you're controlling these little characters, and then, you know, when it comes to the combat, right? Some people, they just, as soon as they see turn-based combat, they get disconnected. Whereas Starfield, we have to be honest, we're talking gunplay, we're talking jumping in the air, jetpacks, cool weapons, punching people like that. Again, if they execute, gravitates more to a casual audience. Not that the game is casual, but I'm talking about to more of the masses. That instant gratification of running down. Remember when they were showing the melee? Bang! Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like that type of stuff. Again, if they execute, I'm not worried about what Starfield is still doing a whole bunch. So yeah, to the question, not worried at all necessarily. And I don't think they're really directly competing. But it's good to see Baldur's Gate get the love. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, it is. Because we were worried about after Midnight Suns and how it performed. You know, we're like, is this just not something people are looking forward to? But I mean, to see the player count that Baldur's Gate 3 has reached when its camera angle is very much directly top down. I mean, you can pull it in and it's more of a just one kind of experience. But most times you're going to be playing with the camera in the sky. To see it be doing that well and for it to be not just a strategy game or a turn-based game, but like the crunchy number-based kick your ass type of RPG. To see it on that mountaintop is almost like unbelievable as turn-based guys. Like we see our series doing well. They're in the fight. They're mixing it up. But you see like your Final Fantasy VII remakes, right? Like, oh, yeah, we found a little action in this one here. Right?
Yeah.
To see Baldur's Gate 3, just this, again, unapologetically just beating your ass type RPG, and there's over 800,000 people at once at one point.
Insane.
Mind-blowing.
Insane. Last point, we also have to see, though, I'm not hating, but that is PC numbers. We got to see when it does release on PlayStation, when it does release on, like, I know the pre-orders look good. What is the engagement? What are the sales? Because also I do remember, you know, the XCOMs and stuff, tremendous PC, and then it come to the consoles and they don't get that numbers that they thought they was going to get. So I want to see if it truly translates engagement and console sales. Okay. Then I'll go, okay, Starfield, you watch out. Oh, they here now. They also doing it here now. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm just curious. I'm not saying it's going to fail. I'm just saying based on historic trends of what I've seen with the turn-based hardcore PC, you know, D&D kind of vibe, RPG vibe, I want to see if it translates truly into console sales.
Yeah, bro. I think it's going to do well on consoles. Like, their games have been successful before, and they do a good job of gradually porting. So actually, Xbox being delayed is kind of good for them because they always did, they gradually did PC for Divinity, and then
they avoid Starfield's release date because nobody was going to be on the same release date on Xbox.
That's what I'm saying. We talked about this last week. There's a strategy to it. Where there's a strategy to them not having a day and date on Xbox. I just think, and it benefits them big time to just be there on PlayStation. Because look what's happening. You go on Twitter, bro. I'm sorry, but like I put out a tweet celebrating some of the numbers that Baldur's Gate 3 was doing. I don't know how it got almost like 7,000 likes, which I'm just like, I was just like, I don't know how that happened. I was like, all right, cool. And bro, there's dudes from that subsect of the PlayStation community. I'm not saying all PlayStation fans, y'all are good, but there's like Xbox, there's that weirdo subsect that's like, that's our exclusive, Maddie, fuck off. I'm like, bro, what are you claiming this for? Like, who? like Larian's standing there going, yo, it's not an exclusive. We didn't sign a contract. And they're like, yo, it's our game. This is our game. What? They're just going to make bread off you, fool. That's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to do. But no one fucking realizes that, it seems. It's unbelievable. My point being is, though, I see a rallying around this. There's a little bit of tribalism happening in the midst of it all, but there's a rallying.
Activity.
That's my snotty way of saying I think it'll do pretty well on consoles.
No doubt. Fair enough. Maybe it becomes a rallying cry for a certain base to claim ownership of a multi-platform. Okay. All right. That's what we're doing. Okay. That's funny.
I'll start with Santino Cuomo. I like this write-in a lot because I can actually, in a weird way, relate to this. What's crack-a-lackin', fellas? Kind of a mental health question here. I do really believe Starfield is going to be an achievement in gaming unlike anything we've ever seen before. But as the release date gets closer, I'm increasingly afraid of the possibility it could fall flat in similar ways to Fallout 4 with poor choice and consequence, unremarkable plot lines, over-reliance on building and crafting mechanics rather than traditional RPG elements. How do you guys think you might feel and react emotionally if Starfield is just mediocre? Yeah, it's only a video game. But after years of waiting, could the disappointment be so serious that you can imagine impacting your everyday mood and lives? Personally, it's not a stretch to say the whole month of September might potentially be even tainted for me if Starfield doesn't deliver a once-in-a-lifetime sci-fi experience Todd has made it out to be. How would you cope with these feelings? You guys truly make my week with every episode. Have a hope I don't go through a real-world depressive episode over 5 years of undeserved hype for a game kind of day. Let's console Santino because I'm sure he ain't alone. I'm not feeling it on this level, by the way, but I've been there, Santino. Look, like with Fallout 4, for me it was different. With Fallout 4, I was 17, 18 years old when it came out. Dropped my review. I'm right there with everyone else, and it called it a near perfect game. And over time, people start getting on your boy's back, rightfully so. It's definitely the review. It's funny. It's one of my most viral reviews. It's one of the ones I'm least proud of in hindsight, but it's one of those things I don't regret because it was a valuable learning experience. It just had to be on a massive level, of course. That's how we call getting humbled at a young age.
It's that Mets energy,
Yes, actually, yeah, literally Matty Mets energy right there. Mm-hmm. And it. What happened was around that same time, funny enough, you're going to see what I mean. I was going through a pretty big health issue where a doctor had told me I had an irregular heartbeat, which is scary when you hear something like that. Absolutely. Turns out I actually have this pretty dope condition called sinus bradycardia, which means because I'm in such great shape, my heart just kind of beats when it wants to. So it sounds to a doctor a little off rhythm. Oh, wow. But it's actually kind of baller. When I found that out, I was like, all right, cool. However, naturally whenever I get a health issue, if you couldn't tell, I became a bit of a hypochondriac for a while. I've got away from that lifestyle, but it really ate me up. And so Santino, I kind of was like you. I was like, man, I really hope Fallout 4 was good. And like you're saying, it's got to be to quote you here, deliver a once-in-a-lifetime sci-fi experience, right? And this is the mistake I made that I don't want you to make, right? Is making yourself look foolish by... I'm not going to assume you're having a real world issue, but I had a real world issue and I put my emotions into a game, and everyone can now publicly see how I got burned by calling it a near perfect game, right? It had to be good for me. Like I needed something to latch onto because I was going through my first battle with anxiety. I didn't know what it was. Remember I talked about earlier today, invisible battle. What's going on with me? I can't put I'm not sneezing or blowing my nose. Like something's happening, but I can't identify it. And so this was like my thing I latched onto, right? Fallout 4, save me from drowning. And so, Santino, I get it. Like, if that's what you're going through, maybe you're not. Maybe you just want it to be good. But I've been there in the sense of emotionally reactive to a game. And it's okay to root for the game and be like, hey, I want this to do well because you know what it means for BGS. It's okay to want it to be great. But remember to disconnect yourself in the moment and maybe, like, if I can speak very frank to you, kind of recognize the privilege. If this is something that's going to send you into a pretty shit mood, if it ends up being bad, you got it pretty good, right? It's like if that's going to affect your real world mood, like most people get their real world moods affected by people, actions, behavior, stuff that, news, like what's happening in the real world, right? If you're getting bothered this bad by a game, just reflect on that. And that's not me talking down to you, because again, I've been there 100% and I've embarrassed myself over it. So I'm just saying, I totally get how you're feeling, but take a bird's eye view and just kind of observe, let it soak in a little bit. Be excited. Be authentically excited for this game. There's nothing. People for years tried to shame me for my excitement of games, and I almost let them win. At times after Fallout 4, when people were clowning on me, I was like, maybe I got to be like a dick. I got to be more stern. But I was like, fuck that. That's not me. I love games. So don't let me come out. I'm not coming out here to poo-poo your excitement. But just as someone who's been there, don't let a game and its failure or success, success it could, but like failure, don't let it tear you down into a depressive episode. You don't want to go there.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I can speak to this on so many levels, because
Let's go. This is the wisdom you're really looking for. Let this man speak.
Thank you, brother. Like this really resonated, because I know what it means. I know what Santana was going through, because when you care about something, you love something, you want to succeed. Obviously we're all Bethesda fans. I call it the soundtrack to our gaming lives. For a lot of us, we're pulling for them, and from what all intents and purposes, for what we see in this game, it looks like it can be very special. Yeah. To his point about getting into depressive state, you got to be clear. Like, don't let anyone take your joy away. And I've learned that as a gamer, because what has happened is, I'll give it a case in point. Like, y'all know how hard I go for Destiny. Y'all know, like, this game literally has so much hype coming into it. Almost like it reminds me of like Starfield when before it released, the creators of Halo, new project, yada, 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 right? Then it came out and it was okay, better than average, okay, right? There was potential, but people ripped it apart. And I remember playing it and I'm just like, I like it. It's not perfect, but I like it still. And I remember telling people like, yo, it's trash. I can't believe you still, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, bro, I finally did a raid, and I'm like, okay, I see what the magic could be. They've got a long way to go, but I do like what's here on a foundational level. They still got to fix it. I stay with it. But the point of the matter is, to this day, and that's right, we'll talk about Destiny later. They're going through it right now. Again, it's cyclical. But the point I'm trying to make with Starfield is this. If it does bomb or it does not meet expectation, right? The key is, does it matter? Is it fun to you still or not? If you're not legitimately still having fun as it, and you just having an honest assessment, it's okay. It's just like, yo, this ain't it. I was hoping for it. It just didn't happen. They got to go to the drawing board or whatever. It's okay. Life still goes on. I think the problem as gamers is we allow the influence of others to tell us we shouldn't be having fun. You shouldn't be liking that. There are some weird games. Me and Maddie, we go at it. Like, Maddie, hey, like Trek to Yoga. I like Trek to Yoga. Like, I like certain things, and Maddie go like, he don't like Like a dragon. Like, again, he ain't taking my joy from Ichiban.
I would love to personally, but
but there's certain games that, again, like, you sit there, y'all go Kingdom Hearts, I roll my eyes, I'm like, oh my God.
I'm kind of in that pocket now with you, though, to be fair.
Okay, true.
We talking Kingdom Hearts 2, I don't roll my eyes, but everything else, I'm like, okay.
All right, what's the Uncle Creepy games that we would attribute?
I mean, that list is long. That list is long. Would you be caught playing any of these Slack Hooper games? Are these creepy to you? You're playing as little animals, stealing stuff. Does this creep you out yet?
I might get into that. All right, so Maddie not gonna let me top his joy. He like, yo, I don't care what you talk about. I'm getting that. I'm getting all this stuff. Like, there's a ton of stuff that is just resonates with you that don't allow anyone. If you're having fun, don't worry about no Metacritic yet. Play the game. Are you having fun? Are you liking it? Are you honest enough to call out the flaws? But are you liking it? That's all that matters. That's what it is. So that's what I was going to say. Now, back to the whole sci-fi Starfield, if it does happen, let's just say, okay, it's mediocre. The only way it would probably affect me is if we get into like 76 launch bag. We get a 76 launch bag, and he like, damn, how did this happen? Right? How, with all the extra delays and all of that, I could understand being sad about it for a little bit, but don't let it dominate your day. And you're like, oh my God, and I'm going to be in such a depressive state for so long because of game bombs.
Yeah.
What's your question?
No, I didn't have a question at all.
Oh, I
I
thought
was
you
just
said
agreeing with you. Yeah, no, you're
yeah,
good.
that was pretty much it. But this is a good. I like this because I think I like that Santino mentioned this because this is I think a lot of gamers a lot of people just want to be part of the conversation, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people want to have that field goal moment. And let's be honest, as Xbox fans, the base really wants this. They really want it. So if they deliver, it would mean a lot to. I get it. I know what the stakes are. This ain't my first rodeo. I get it. Just as long as you enjoy it, it's all that matters, bro. That's it.
Can I just say I am so excited to see what Ben labels the section in the timestamps.
Yes. What is he gonna call it?
He comes up with some of the funniest
Yo,
things.
Ben is amazing with the timestamp names.
Yes.
Like I love it. Shout out to the
It's so funny.
It's so what is he gonna call this?
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have fun with this one. Like, should Starfield make you depressed or something?
Yes, yeah. I can see that. Yep.
But Santino, thank you for writing in and being honest and open with us. We appreciate it. Hopefully we helped you out. And I know you're not alone on that, because certainly, again, I've been there and I know others have with other games. So it's not just the lesson for Starfield, but any game out there that be authentically excited. Don't let anyone take your joy, but don't let it ruin your day. Be bummed, but don't let it ruin your life.
Facts.
Cog, this one's all you here. Zachary Abel, sorry, you can correct me with the follow-up. Writes in, Dukes, there's been so much slander over 343 Industry while glorifying Bungie. But have either of you seen the news? Cog almost certainly has, but Cliff Notes. Bungie released a state of the game, and for the first time ever, the community is pissed after one of these instead of optimistic. Bungie essentially, and Cog, you can correct this, I don't know for sure. Bungie essentially exclaimed that they don't have the manpower to support Destiny PvP. So much so that even one map a year is too demanding for them. We will get a new map in the spring for the first time in almost 4 years. Additionally, no refreshment of yearly vendor loot, while the paid loot is updated every season, let alone year. Gambit is also dead. Increased pricing in seasons and expansions when the content has never been less, more repetitive, and full of bugs and server issues. I understand that the Sony payout didn't go directly into their pocket, but certainly a game as successful as Destiny 2 under parent company Sony could justify a little more support than this. Bungie is making themselves sound like a struggling indie studio trying to release their first game. Meanwhile, on the 343 Industry side, Halo Infinite continues to only get better and better, and while being different games, is getting a lot of support. What say you? Hope you don't have you hopped online to play Destiny with your friends, but Bungie turned off the servers for emergency maintenance kind of day. And I do have to say, shout out to 343. They have been doing a really good job supporting Infinite. I just keep seeing more and more stuff poured into the game. And I'll check it out in a little bit. I want to just wait till it's all stacked up with a lot of modes, a lot of maps. Forge, as we predicted, has been great for that game. But Cog, this is all you. A lot of people wrote in about this for you. Really wanted you to sink your teeth into what's going on with Destiny here. I noticed it's been missing from the what we're playing section. We see this year. Are we boycotting, good sir? Are we making a statement, perhaps? Are you going to get kicked out of the clan now because they're not showing up? What's happening? I'm remembering some of this Destiny lingo, so walk me through it. What's going on here?
Yeah, clan activity is definitely low. Definitely low right now. There's no question. Look, Destiny, this is, I would probably say this is, I want to say this is the worst. The lowest I've ever seen it was probably Destiny 1 and also Curse of Osiris, Destiny 2 DLC.
Talk about that a lot.
It was really not received well. They seem to be, I just got to be honest, man. The state of the game that they just put out maybe about a week ago, it definitely hit the community, not only negatively, about a lot of complaints the Destiny community has had for a long time, but it also felt slightly tone deaf. And the reason why I felt tone deaf is because the talk was, there's this game, right? You got PvE, you got PvP, and you got Gambit. And Gambit's kind of like a hybrid PvE, PvP mix. And these are what Bungie considers the ritual core activities to the game. This is what they expect you to log into every day. So, Maddie, the PvP guy's been sitting here for about a year and a half.
Remember you saying this?
Maps, content. Like everything is given to the PvE guy. You get a new dungeon, you get a new raid, not new strikes, but you get, mostly new content every season that is PvE focused. Whereas the PvP guy can't even get an outfit. He can't even, it took so long for them to make a competitive mode. So the state of the game kind of read like, hey, we heard you, but if we make a PvP maps, we can't give you that exotic mission that we know you like. It'll take away from the development time. And I gotta be honest, man, it felt tone deaf.
Did it kill the Guardian Vibe Con or the Guardian Con vibes?
Oh, bro, like it was listen, the energy, I was talking to a lot of the top content creators behind the scenes. Dudes are not happy. They're like, yo, this was not it. And then they basically said that Gambit, this thermal, they basically killed. So basically how it used to work is you have to log in. You could do the PvE strikes, your PvP fighting, or Gambit, and those would be your core ritual activities to build up power. They literally said, hey, since we ain't gonna really give you no new PvP stuff, much of it, we're gonna give you maybe one map in 4 years or whatever. Gambit, we're not gonna really get, that's gonna essentially be dead. And we don't care what you do. You can do it whatever one before you had to do each of them. Now it's like just do one, stay in it, and that's it. We don't care. Like it's just that kind of energy. And it's just, listen, here's the problem. And shout out to the last word, my co-host, Ebontis Tie Guy Travis. And Travis has been on record for this. I got to give him his flowers. His concern was that, and I'm not trying to console war here, but his concern was that when they were acquired by Sony, that the thing you have to look out is this. One, we do know Marathon exists, right? And that all the things, we feel like the new child, the new baby in the house is getting all the things that they wanted, which is dedicated servers, you know what I'm saying, like maps, and all of the core PvP head developers, you see them in the Marathon vidocs, right? Then you see Bungie, let's be honest, working with Naughty Dog, hey, your faction. Because remember, a lot of the reason why they were acquired was their acumen for live service and multiplayer. Right. So the thought process is there is a brain drain that now they have to look at these 10 live service games.
That was going to be the question I ask you. Go on.
Yeah. Give input to all of Sony's PlayStation Studios. Yeah. And clearly there's been a decision that Destiny's content, for whatever reason, I don't know if that's the reason, but clearly the state of the game showed that, hey, at this current point with the seasonal model, this is all we kind of going to give you right now. We got a big expansion in the Final Shape coming up, which everybody's hoping will knock it out the park. But for right now, we're doing kind of bare minimum. And if we give you something else, it's going to take a lot from us. And it just didn't sit well. I've seen a lot of PvP guys go, nope, that's it. Bungie's not caring about my aspect of the game, and I'll be back when it is. And for the first time, and this is the thing I always tell the Destiny community, because Destiny community be talking, but they were still playing the game. I looked at the engagement numbers. For the first time, they're actually doing what I told them to do.
Just leaving.
Stop playing. Like, I don't sit there and get mad about and depressed about Destiny if it goes through a bad stretch. I'm like, okay, y'all not listening. I'll be over here playing this, and Baldur's Gate and Diablo. And when y'all get it together, I'll be back. It happens. It's the ebbs and flows of a damn near 10-year plus game. You know what I'm saying? It happens. So me, Ebons, we've always said that. So I think this is the good thing. They're seeing the player count go down. And now you go ahead to do something.
It was time to react.
You go ahead to do something. So that, to me, this is beautiful. Like, let it happen. And you know how I know they're going to have to do something? Because when I was at GCX, guess who showed up? Bungie. Oh, and they want to talk about how to bridge the gap between creators and the community. And
are you saying they're providing talking points now, Con?
Hey, if you just now hired shout out to my man, Chef, I forgot his name. He's amazing. They just hired a guy for this. He's amazing. I was in one of these developer meetings, and it was awesome. If they're just hiring that, they know that there's some disconnects, right? And they got to get it going on here. So I think this is good. Listen, this is not my first rodeo. I'll end it with this. Destiny, I've never seen a game like this that I've been able to play for this amount of long. There's no game that shoots, feels like this. It's one of the best shooters out. It's not even a question. Me and Chris Frey are going to talk about this extensively. I think they will be fine. The issue comes down to the financial guys may have pushed too far with prioritizing monetization models and prioritizing the Eververse where you buy microtransactions too much. And they're going to have to make a change or else, because guess what? You got all these games. Listen, I got people that were Destiny content creators, Maddie.
Mhm.
That's like, yo, when Starfield drop, I'm a Starfield content creator.
I think a lot of people are going to be Starfield content creators at the moment.
You can't play. You've been able to get away with some stuff for the last year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Play with this community right now. They got this places. Diablo's here. Baldur's Gate is here.
This year, man.
Remnant's here. Like we've got Call of Duty's come. Like you want to play around? See, what it is, they've gotten too, this is such a loyal base. They got a little too comfortable. A little too comfortable. And now,
sorry, go on.
No, that's it. Please ask questions. I love the questions.
I don't want to just point the finger at PlayStation. I feel like that's a lazy argument. But do you think not only are they maybe over encumbered with tasks from them, but do you feel like with the focus on pretty much making more money out of it, is this maybe would you have seen this move in a pre-acquisition Bungie, perhaps? Do you think maybe, I'm not saying Jim steps into the building and goes, yo, all right, Pete Parsons, time to start really making these players pay. I want more monetization. But do you think this might be because they're now corporate owned, that it's in Sony's best interest to make a little bit more money off what they're producing here with the cosmetics instead? I don't know if it works quite that way, only because like with the PvP not being a supported part of the game, it's another way to make a lot of money. But it's just how I'm receiving part of it. So Definitely. Am I misreading the tea leaves here?
Look, it's a great question. And I know a lot of people at Bungie, and I'm trying to be respectful here, but the facts are the facts. When they were with Activision, people vilified Activision at the time. See, they're making them do all these microtransactions. This is not the Bungie I love from the Halo days. And, Bungie had the nasty breakup with Activision, right? And then they went solo. But here's the thing, Maddie. I got to look at the evidence. Shout out to my man, Astro Cross. He has a very good, even when they went free to play. Destiny's not free to play, bro.
Hell no, it's not.
It's free to try. It's free to check out for a little. You've experienced it, right? So when they've been on their own, their monetization models have increased. That's just the facts. I'm just calling it how I see it.
At their core.
This is them. So this is still their issue. And then they went to the seasonal model versus the expansion, which Activision won. Okay, fine. But they figured out to just finagle too much. So to Sony's credit, I don't know if this is Sony implement. I'm not going to go there. What I will say, though, is they have made an internal decision for whatever reason that they are going to focus their resources on not updating the core stuff for Destiny. And maybe that stuff, maybe the brain drain of having to help out so many live service games, and now you're helping out Naughty Dog with Fractions, right? That maybe it's a bit much for you to now, you know what I mean? Or maybe you're going to have to hide. Where's the money going? That's what people say, you just got a bag. Why is the bag not towards the old faithful child that has been here the longest, but the new child all of a sudden is getting all the stuff? And I think that's what's happening here. But this is a great discussion. They've got a big showcase coming up this month. It's going to be critical for them with the final shape. I anticipate them. One thing about Bungie is this. I'll end it with this. They're like the smart kid who coasts through school every marking period. 65 here.
That's 2 weeks in a row, my man. Bringing it back to school.
Got to go back to school. Listen, I used to be that kid for a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I used to be a kid that I was smart, but I could coast for a little bit. And then it's like, oh, come on, Cog, got to do better. Like, this ain't it. But when it comes to the final exam and that, if you don't pass this, you out of here, I got to give it to the Maddie. They always find a way to do the most magical, amazing thing. And you go, oh, I love them again. It's great. It's the cycle of being with Destiny and Bungie. So I anticipate final shape being great. I anticipate them having a trailer that's going to knock people's socks off. But I will say community angst is at its highest. And they're going to have to pivot with a lot of their practices.
Okay. Yeah, I anticipate this trailer because, you said it's the end game moment, right? Final shape is like, yes, it's the end of that kind of story.
And the key question that everyone has is after final shape, the Destiny story is supposed to continue. Do they drop past they're still supporting PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Like, this engine has been, you know what I mean? Maybe this is a lot, and maybe they will finally announce, hey, D3, right? Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, silver lining, which is like, maybe they're at that point where they're like, hey, we're not going to support it anymore because we're at that bandwidth engine capability maximum threshold.
Okay.
And maybe it's time. And that's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see. I don't know what's going on. They're going to have to explain in the showcase, and it's coming up, I believe, at the end of the month. So stay tuned.
Okay. So we'll see if there's a little bit of a plot twist here, but that's what's going on with Destiny 2. Let's get into the rest of the news, shall we? With number one. Square Enix is no longer focusing on mid-sized games, according to a now deleted tweet, might I add, from David Gibson, who is senior analyst at MST Financial. It's there that he says that their focus strategy at Square Enix is less mid-sized, more larger AAA console games, as the company says this will take several years to have an impact. Meanwhile, in this same set of statements, Square Enix has seen their worst drop of stocks yet after a big mobile gaming setback, and says that Final Fantasy XVI did not meet the high end of their expectations. And I put this in our number one slot strictly because following the big news last week about renewing your vows between Square Enix and Xbox, I couldn't help but look at this news and think, kind of makes a little bit more sense now. That's where my head went. Maybe a little bit conspiracy theorist of me.
little tinny tinfoil.
Like, oh, we're struggling. We can use a bag to justify making ports, and here we are. What surprised me most is Final Fantasy 16 not meeting the high-end expectations. It wasn't my cup of tea, but to not be selling gangbusters is a little surprising. But I'm also a little bummed that they may not be focusing on mid-sized games anymore, because I think of things like Neo The World Ends With You. I think of things like they dropped this year Paranormasight, which is a really cool horror visual novel game that I haven't finished yet, but I'm going to, because I feel like it could kind of crack my game of the year list. Like, it's very strange, very different, very cool. And Neo The World Ends With You is like a secretly really good Square Enix game. And they just have, where Square is at their best when they're making JRPGs and smaller titles. I know they don't want to hear that. I know they want 16 to be the metric they go by. But in my eyes, it's not. Like, their best games are Octopath Traveler 2, right? Like, that's the best shit Square Enix is making right now. But what do you make of this, Cog? Change in focus here, more AAA, a big drop off in stocks, and Final Fantasy 16 not meeting the high end of expectations.
It's just so confusing to me because, it's like on one end, they come out and they say, Final Fantasy 16 did well for them, for the most part, and that it seemed like a success, right? And on paper, I've seen some, some statistics, some analytics that seem that, these releases was doing fine. But then I see stuff like, we were expecting more PS5 stock and it to really be more on the high end. So the vibe I get consistent with them is that they have these really lofty expectations for their big games. And, whatever these internal targets are, they still feel that they're not hitting them. So I am going to tinfoil with you a little bit, because I do feel like it is kind of coincidental that all of a sudden you now find a way to repair the situation with Xbox, right? And all of a sudden you have the, Phil Spencer on your stage, and this, again, is it that going exclusive is a mistake? Maybe not necessarily, but it's clear they want a bigger bag. They want a higher reach. I think it's safe to assume that, because at the end of the day, let's just say the report from Takashi, I can't pronounce this guy. He's from Bloomberg. He seems to have, he's the one that dropped the, a lot of this news. It is safe to say, like, if you're doing well, you maintain the status quo. Like, if keeping Xbox out of it and they're not providing any type of help to you from a game install base standpoint, from a game sales standpoint, if it's not practical and beneficial, right? And you were willing to take one Game Pass bag, but not the other one for Octopath 2. You see what I'm saying? Like, so to me, that just, like, if you were fine, it would just stay where it's at. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, you still got lofty expectations. You still think these things could be bigger and better. And corporations want money. That's just what it is. This is about the business of making money. And if Microsoft is going to give you a bag to either A, help with development, or B, put the game in Game Pass, and to make it on their platform, it's your best interest to take it. So that's how I'm looking at it. I don't think these games are like flops and they're like in these dire straits. I don't think that from them, but I just think their projections, whoever's in the projection team, like they've got really colossal numbers and they maybe say, hey, we didn't hit that. We thought we was going to hit that kind of energy. So I'm curious what you think about all this. Like, do you think it's, because I'm so conflicted. Like 1 minute it's like, yo, this is the biggest launch, it did so well. And, I've seen so much, like, I don't know, man. Like Final Fantasy met expectations.
Right.
Confused.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Capcom when they. I remember when me and Carrick went hard on this. They had Final or Resident Evil 7, which sold really well, but Capcom kept saying it didn't meet expectations, and that was the first company. It was really them and EA that I noticed meeting expectations is insane because with EA, I think they sold 10 plus or 15 million copies of Battlefront 2. And they were like, yeah, it didn't meet our expectations. I think it was 9.
Yeah.
And what happens is people don't realize that I think expectations does not mean if they miss that the game is failing.
Right.
The metric was missed. But
yes,
necessarily give you confidence that it's thriving, like maybe you think it should be, which is why I said I would think 16 would be selling gangbusters. Like PlayStation really hasn't had a massive exclusive in a while. It's the most celebrated JRPG franchise. It's big budget. Like it just has everything kind of going for it. It had the marketing for sure. They built state of plays around it. Everything was going in its favor. And to see it didn't meet the high end of expectations is actually a little surprising. What I hope that does reaffirm to them is to continue the experimental nature of Final Fantasy. There were people talking saying like 16 should be the way it is forever. No. You can't just do what Baldur's Gate 3 is doing. You want just that action combat. That's all you want from Final Fantasy forever in perpetuity. The series that always changes its identity with every entry. You want it to stay the same now and be the same as pretty much everything else out there? No, I'm okay. Miss me with that. So hopefully there is a message received in that, perhaps.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'll look at, they met the sales expectation with limited base. They recoup on their cost, they make profit. I thought it was a success, but again, it's that internal metric as a corporation that maybe they still, there's still money on the table that they feel has been left out there, and they want to get that. So I have to. I don't see it. I know right now this dude's getting a lot of hate. I don't know if you know, man. Like the dude put it out from Bloomberg. I forgot his son's name. Like they are not happy with him whenever he talks about Sony's sales projections and Square and stuff like that. But he's standing on it. He's putting his analyst quotes and stuff like that out. So.
Oh yeah, I see that right now.
Yeah. There's a certain community, certain communities not some of them, not all of them. Some of them are not happy with it. I think the truth lies in the middle. That's just where I think there is probably some truth to it, and I just feel the timing of the Xbox resolution is interesting in conjunction.
Yeah, they've fallen for 7 days straight.
Yeah,
according to Takashi Mochizuki.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, just crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
we'll see. They're not doing too hot right now.
Right.
So hopefully that Xbox is there. It's funny. When it comes full circle to COG, I knew there was something we were missing in this.
Talk to me.
It comes full circle to Xbox's manipulative ass way of doing business. Oh, a major setback. The stocks are the lowest they've been in a while. Come on.
Exactly. How unfortunate.
Come on, let's make a deal, guys. Let's do what's best for everyone.
Yo, you
come on. The timing is not consequential here,
bro. It literally, they catch you. Xbox catches you slipping. Think about it. Whenever you was talking crazy and then you was doing something, and then you go through a hard stretch. Remember, Bobby was talking crazy for a while.
Yeah.
ABK hard stretch. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying Bethesda was talking crazy, but then they went through a hard stretch, right? they catch you. They catch you when you at your low. And it's funny that all of a sudden, again, I'm with you on that. I think that theory, that tinfoil is right on. I'm with that one.
Yeah. So we'll see where Square Enix ends up next week, but hopefully they start getting back on track.
Yeah.
With their mobile games, with their AAA games, I guess now. We'll see where they end up after.
I hope they don't lose a lot of their flavor. I agree with you. They still need those mid-size and some of those really cool and them tactic games too, man.
Yeah. I think Octopath 2 would qualify as a AAA game just based off how much art and stuff is in there. I can't imagine that being a cheap game for them. So I think that's safe at least. All right, number 2. Baldur's Gate 3, as we've talked a lot about this episode, reached 800,000 plus concurrent players on Steam, becoming the second biggest Steam launch in 2023. So with that, we have Zeke the Plumber writing in, dearly beloved Dookie boys. With Baldur's Gate 3 hitting over 800k concurrent players on Steam alone, seems like the delay for the Xbox version hurts even more than originally anticipated. How big will the game's launch on Xbox be compared to what it could have been had it been ready now? Thanks for all the great content. So yeah, again, as we've celebrated, absolutely tremendous achievement here by Larian, that they have given up nothing to get to this point at all, and only doubled down and invested in themselves. But with that, some Xbox fans are a little sore, Cog. They're like, man, this is that good, huh? And there's all that hype. And one thing I said in a recent video talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and what it's accomplished is, I said, hype is real. I said, hype is real. Now everyone wants to be in the party, right? It's just like with Hogwarts Legacy. Hype is real. And I imagine with Starfield, if it's good, hype is real. That'll be one of the biggest Steam launches of the year. I don't know if it'll be Baldur's Gate 3, but it'll be one of the biggest Steam launches. So, Cog, what do you say to the hurting Xbox fan who may be feeling a little greedy? They want 2 big RPGs at once. What do you say to them?
Yeah, listen, I say that, look, it's never a good thing when something that is truly the talk of the gaming industry misses your platform for whatever reason, right? Let's just get that out. That's not a good thing that it's not on the platform right now. But we got to look at it objectively. You know, Larian made this game for PC first. Regardless of the development that it's coming to PlayStation, most games are developed at the same time, PC, and console port. Larian has chosen to say, we're getting this PC thing down first. PlayStation now comes at, September 6th, which I think is interesting. That PlayStation, has it launching on that date. Now, I don't know. You can help me, Maddie. I don't know if Baldur's Gate console marketing, I'm going to assume that maybe Sony has it because it debuted on the Sony stage, right? I don't know for sure. But if that is the case, and we kind of alluded to this on IOP, and Sony knows that they don't have anything that, not say they don't have, we know Spider-Man's coming, but around that date, and you figure out a way to strategically make it seem like, hey, it's coming on this date, right? And you now have a very huge title around the same time, Starfield. Now, we know it's not exclusive, right? But the thought process is right now, hey, you can't get it on Xbox until they figure out the cooperative split screen issue for the Series S. So I think that to me is the if you're on the Xbox side of things, your concern is more so like, hey, big titles can't miss because of any Series S issue, in this case, split screen. That to me is what you need to do. Get your team in there, your engineers or whatever it is to help Larian figure it out. But as far as now, the practicality, let's be honest now, and we got to be real. Let's just say perfect world, this thing, development was great, Series S was ready to go. You really dropping Baldur's Gate on September 6th? You really
they're running, okay.
You really gonna drop it on the Xbox platform on September 6th when you've got Starfield? Forget who you feel game is better. Drop it in Game Pass for free $99. You really going head to head with that? I think you need more time to work on whatever you need to work on.
Split screen and feature parity means a lot right now.
Not implying that Larian is playing games. That's king.
Smart game to play.
Hey, I'm just saying it don't make good business sense if this thing was ready regardless. So to me, stay away from Starfield. You know what I'm saying? Fix it when it fix. Hopefully it's a month or two. Hopefully it's not too long. Yeah, I get it. Xbox guys, I get it. You wanna, but remember, in my opinion, this is a Larian decision to say, hey, we're not also, I mean, yes, there is a mandate probably from Xbox that there has to be parity on Series X and Series X with all features from a gameplay perspective. I believe that. But I do not come for Larian, but I do have to say they have chosen to prioritize platforms in a specific order. They are not doing because technically it should be out now on all platforms, Technically, that's all I'm saying. They've made an internal decision, whether it be resources, development time, for whatever reason. So, hey, sometimes the financial guys, Maddie, sometimes they do have influence. Sometimes marketing guys do have influence. I am going to say that. We ain't going to say that it's not impossible that wasn't a factor.
Yeah. I think everyone wins in this situation, though. I know some people want to play it now, but Xbox fans who are looking for an RPG get Starfield. And you've got something really good to look forward to, is how I view it. I just think you're out of your mind. If you have no job, no friends, no life, you're out of your mind if you think you can balance these two at the same time. They are going to be two gigantic games, both highly replayable, we hope. And I just feel there's no way you can squeeze them both in at the same time. So Xbox fans, if you want to have a glass half full mentality, look at it that way. You know, are you winning here? Technically, no, you're losing. But you can look at it in a way like you're winning in your schedule. Because you can spend as much time as you want with Baldur's Gate without that pressure hanging over you, Starfield, without that pressure of, oh my God, I got to get the BG3, right? Absolutely. You don't have to bend the knee like Cog did. You don't got to worry about any of that, right? You got till 2024. You're good. We got another write in here about Baldur's Gate 3. Meatball writes, good day, Dukes. What makes a good companion in a game? Baldur's Gate 3 is taking the industry by storm, and for good reason. One of the best aspects of the game, in my opinion, is the strong supporting cast of characters you travel with. Baldur's Gate 3 does an excellent job showing that your ragtag group of misfits have their own reasons and motivations for everything they do, regardless of how you, the player, feel about it. That being said, do you think we can expect anything close to this level of polish for companions in Starfield? Have there been any indications that we'll have a robust crew to explore the stars with? Thanks as always for being the best mac and cheese podcast on the internet. You're welcome, Meatball. I'm happy to spread the good word on Creamy Mac out here.
Yes.
Cog.
Yo.
See, that's what I'm talking about. There's fear in these streets right now. We can't even think about companions without worrying about Starfield. There is fear coursing through the streets of Xbox right now.
Fear. Look, man. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I get no. As far as the companion, I will agree with Meatball though. I will say, listen, from what we know about companions in Starfield, it was kind of like it felt to me my initial on the lighter side from like the traditional. We're going to do Mass Effect level relationships. We're going to do I know you hate Inquisition, but I still feel Inquisition has some of the best ways to do relationship in gaming. And I get it. It's not for everybody. You and Gene Park included. That's what Gene's tweeted.
My face did not change at all. You doubled down.
Okay.
Now my face has to change.
I see the face. But look, I do think that Baldur's Gate probably is not going to be matched there. This is a level of getting it in with your companions that I have not seen in a long time. So yeah, in that case, I don't expect Starfield to compete that deeply on it, but I'm just glad that it had the feature because I'll be honest, I thought it wasn't even going to be in Starfield. So yeah, I think we'll still have a robust crew. I think motivations will be different, and then obviously I am very curious on Starfield what it is that you do to get them to be like, yo, I'm good on you, fam. Like I'm like that kind of energy. I'm dying to know if that, because I think, did Todd talk about that? Correct me if I'm wrong, man. Did Todd talk about like, if you do a bunch of things that the crewmate won't agree with, is that they can leave?
They can leave, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. But look, I get it. Baldur's Gate's outside.
Yeah.
I get it. But remember, it's still two different games. It's not one-to-one on everything. And there's going to be certain things, Baldur's Gate, from an RPG hardcore purist, not everything Starfield going to be able to touch on that. We got to be real about that. But there's going to be things, a ton of things that we know that Starfield does that they don't do either. So just appreciate them for what they are. They're just two different type of games.
I will say, I do hope on a number level, based off what we know about Starfield, that there are more companions. Right now, we only know about 4.
I agree.
And the way they talked about it sounded kind of like definitive, almost like
I agree.
There are only 4 almost energy. And I'm not sure if I'm remembering the quote right, but there's Barrett, there's Sam Coe, Sarah Morgan, and Vasco. So you really have like 3 humans and a robot. I'm just like, if they're more deep than any other BGS, like if it's less is more here, that's fine. But given the vast nature of the world, or worlds,
good point.
I just feel like it would make, it's why I worry about what's beyond the major cities. Because I'm like, okay, it would make so much sense to find like a moon base and there's this companion there who's like an assassin or some crazy shit. It just writes itself.
Yes.
I don't want to wait for post-launch content for that. I don't want to wait for mods for that. It just writes itself. So I've looked up Fallout 4 and at launch it had 13 unique permanent companions. Yeah. 13, each with their own story. Like, count dog meat.
Yeah.
You can get out of there, I guess, right? But, you know, you get a couple extra. There's also X688, who I personally don't really count as one. And obviously, Fallout 4 has levels to it, in my opinion. Like, I'm looking at the list right now. Nick Valentine is one of the best written characters in BGS history. Straight up. And then you got Preston fucking Garvey. It's like, you know, that man's a meme, right? He's a great meme. That man's a meme, right? So the levels, right? John Hancock, awesome one. McCready is a cool one, right? There's levels though to it. So if Starfield does less but manages to keep them equal, I think I'd be okay with that. But I worry what that means for the scope of the amount of places we can explore and characters that we can meet that have permanence to them.
I agree. I think you're spot on with that assessment.
But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, I completely agree, Meatball, is one of the best parts of the game is the companions. Shadowheart's backstory right now. I'm like, you meet these characters, right? This is not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say,
please.
There are characters that have in games like the Amnesiac backstory, right? And I'll just say her story is about memory loss. But the way that they twist it, it's that angle that they take when you talk to her and you get to that point. It's like, okay, I got to know what's going on here, right? Like every character just has a twist on them. Like Karlach, you know, whoever they hired for a voice actress, give her a fucking raise. So good.
Nice.
Right? Just charismatic, right? Like very personable. You immediately want to engage in conversation with Karlach, but you learn about her history with war and the twist on it, giving her her look, like how she looks. You're like this? That's the game's strength. Looks can be deceiving is really, I think, the motto when they were writing these companions. Like, because no one behaves how you think they would at first impression. And there's no better feeling. It's the gradual warming up, right? Yeah. I don't typically like when games have your companions kind of being like stiff arming you off the rip.
Like what you mean?
This game does. Like Lae'zel, ruthless to you.
Really?
Shadowheart's like, we're just working together. But I can't deny that there is, because I just feel like you don't have to love each other, but you can be amicable. But in this game, there is that reward of like when Shadowheart's like, yeah, I guess I didn't make a bad call teaming up with you. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you like it here. That's right.
You like it here.
Yeah.
I don't mind that though. Like, I think I'm a little different from you because sometimes I like that every once in a while you got that little oddball mercenary. Like, look.
You know what the problem is though?
All right, tell me.
Is I get the energy of like, oh, you don't like me? Fuck off then. Like I
feel you.
I get my backup. I'm like, all right, I'm moving on then. I don't want you in the party.
I'm with you. If they get too disrespectful, like, yo, whatever happened to you happened to you because you know you're supposed to be. I'm with you on that. But that's the fun dynamic of this like enigmatic character that ain't really all the way sold in yet. And it's fun. You can get see, to me, that's why I like Quebec, because you can literally get back. Like, I know you ain't just saying, like, you can get in your feelings. I love that.
I was playing Mass Effect 2 on my ROG Ally. And I was playing Cog's favorite game ever. There's this line. I don't know if I shared this, but there's this line. and I Locke edited the video, and we had a laugh about it because there's this clip of me playing Mass Effect 2 and you hear me burst out laughing because Miranda is being like very stiff to you.
Yeah.
And the dialogue selection is just like, what's your problem? So I pick it innocently, kind of like, what did I do? Right.
Yeah, what I do, yeah.
But what's great about Mass Effect is they play you for a fool. Cause you're thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be kind of just stern. But Commander Shepard's I think he said something along the lines of, like, is it just me or are you always this bitchy? And I'm just like, you just hear me just burst out laughing in the footage because I'm like, that was not what I wanted to say at all. I did not want to call her a bitch at all. That's the beauty of those games. I don't even know how we got to that, but
no, I love it. It's character, companions, choices, relationships. It adds flavor to the game, and we want to see what Starfield does. I just love the fact that it has it because, to be honest, I didn't think it was having it, even if it's in a smaller capacity. But to your point, I hope less is more from a quality writing standpoint, and we connect if it's only. But I'm with you. I am a little disappointed if it's only that, and we can't get any. You know what I'm saying? In these, other planets or other places, I would hope for like a couple more. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Me too. At least like 7.
Yeah, I agree. That's a nice little number. Yeah. But 4 seems like it's really limiting on that regard. So I'm hoping they're doing a little bluff there. I hope so.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Number 3, last bit of news here. In the finale of Obsidian's documentary series, Fergus Urquhart admitted that he pushed for co-op in Avowed originally to make it appealing for publishers when they were independent, and indicates that the project is pushing around $80 million. He reflects it as a decision that was wrong to push. Obsidian apparently had trouble with their quest pipeline and how they wrote conversations, and then made the pivot after realizing they weren't focusing on their strengths as a team. MB475 writes in, "Good day, Duke boys. The final part of Obsidian's 20th anniversary documentary just dropped, and there was one section that stood out the most, and that was about Avowed. Probably the biggest reveal was that the game was originally meant to be a multiplayer game, presumably co-op. One reason mentioned was that having a multiplayer game is more attractive when speaking to publishers for acquisition. However, since the game has been rescoped, as they mentioned before, now the question, does the confirmation of this being a single-player game fill you guys with more confidence, or does the fact that the game started out as multiplayer make you guys concerned about the RPG aspects of the game? Thanks, and have a health is wealth kind of day." Shout out to you, MB. We appreciate that.
Yeah, salute.
So, Cog, this one, you're dressed for the occasion. I want you to take this away on not only, I love the leadership of Fergus by admitting, like, hey, he's like, I think his line was exactly, there are a lot of decisions I reflect on that I'm proud of and ones that I'm not, or didn't go as well. And he said this was one that he didn't think went as well. So I admire that he was very open about this before the game's even released. Not after, when it's like, oh yeah, we won. We did it all right. Obsidian's back, baby. We did it again. It's like, no, it's before it even launched. I love the transparency there. So, Cog, what do you make of it being confirmed? Jez had mentioned something like this, that co-op may have been in the game, but it was stripped out. So how do you feel about this? And to MB's question, does it give you concern that it was originally a multiplayer title?
First of all, shout out to Jez Corden. He was on this early. And I remember this. And I was like, wow, okay, maybe co-op. Let's see how that's going to go kind of thing. And look, shout out to Fergus, because that's not an easy thing to just put out there. And the reason why I say that is because what I love about this process with Obsidian as Xbox Game Studio, we're learning a lot about the decision on why they chose to be acquired by Microsoft. And we got it early about leadership involvement, not, Microsoft not forcing them to make games a specific way, and them doing one of the things. But here's the key. To me, the key with the co-op aspect is this. He literally said, we wanted to put this in there, Maddie, to attract, when we were independent, to attract multiple publishers. So what does that tell you, right? That tells you that, again, not that they're chasing a wave, but in order to get the publisher support, we gotta lean into some of these trends, right? They're known as single player, these great RPG experiences, depth, quality writing, humor, all these great things, Obsidian. But even them, during that type of climate, said, you know what? We want to try to secure a bag here. We may have to put this. Now, as far as worrying about it, no, I'm actually not. I have the opposite. It's almost like staying true to who you are. And it also reminds me of the statement they put prior to this. Remember when people were like, yo, oh, now we're hearing it's going to be like not a true Elder Scrolls kind of exact one-to-one. And I wanted Obsidian's Elder Scrolls. And they go, wait, you know what? Developing this, to me, the ultimate transparency and honesty and development is making the game you want to make and knowing what your core strengths are. And if you do that and you execute, it's golden. So I love it. And I got to talk my talk, Manny.
Go for it.
This is why the acquisition from Microsoft makes sense. This is why, because when you require them, you wouldn't be allowed to do all that, because they're going to be like, yo, where's the co-op? Where's the multiplayer component? Right. And if you're going to go with another publisher, this is one of the decisions. So this is where the acquisition was beneficial to them. This makes perfect sense. They would not have signed with Microsoft if any of these things were being compromised and influenced. And guess what? They can now make a single player game with heavy RPG and not worry about, oh my God, if we don't hit this financial target, we're out of here. There is security with that. There is a baseline with that. I am going to talk my talk, and I'm sorry I hate it. People who hate me on the acquisition train, I get it, but these are the facts. You're getting it directly from the CEO. Like literally, we were going to push this as a co-op game to other publishers in the hope of making ourselves more attractive. That's the industry trend, right? But now that we're required, guess what? We can do what we want to do now. We can actually make a deep single-player RPG. So look, I'm rambling. I'm not concerned necessarily about Avowed not having a co-op. And the reason being is I really want the in-depth single-player story. I really want deep choice. I am also team hub world. I don't need everything to be this super, vomit on the map with icons. Every game don't gotta be that. Let them be what they are. Just great individual experiences, and I'm pulling for them. So hopefully the game's good. Hopefully it does what it has to do with these changes. And he himself said, look, we think this was the correct decision to make. So shout out to them for in their 20th anniversary. I wanted to salute them. 20 years of Obsidian. They're one of my favorite studios. I'm very biased. Yes, I am very biased with the Black Rock. I love what they do. I don't think they've made a bad game since they came on with Xbox. And I'm pulling for Avowed. I think it's going to really surprise people. That's just my honest opinion on it. But I'm curious with you, if you have a different take, feel free to disagree, because I know I'm biased here. You know what I'm saying? But, just where you at with these statements and what do you take from it?
I'm biased too. I love Obsidian so much. It's not just
love
you.
Them. I
love Obsidian. I'm actually not concerned either, believe it or not, because to me, it indicates good leadership and self-awareness when you course correct early enough. This wasn't we'll say Avengers, Gotham Knights,
great example,
storming towards a particular trend. And then you see in the case of Gotham Knights, they clearly saw what happened with Avengers and was like, oh, we don't want to do that to ourselves. So cut it off and try to amass some hype, salvage what's there, and make it appear it's something else. Now, when you play the game, it's a completely different story. You can just tell there's remnants of stripped out monetization everywhere, right? So for me, when I look at Obsidian, we now know the trailer we got was pre-alpha, very early in the process, especially before all this, plenty of time to make a change. I don't expect it to be very apparent at all that multiplayer was in this game because it was a change made early. And this is that impact you mentioned about Xbox, right? This is no doubt like, hey, they could not have made this call without a publisher supporting them. It's just, that's the reality of the situation. And so I know a lot of people are going to view it as cheerleading for Xbox, but it's just, you got to be able to hear both sides of the story. We'll happily talk about where acquisitions go south as we have. We'll talk about where they go well. And Obsidian was one of the best investments Xbox made. They were the only reason they had some type of spotlight in 2022. And they're here now making a choice to make a game that's more to their strengths. Is that guarantee Avowed's going to be success and great? No, but no game's a guarantee is what people need to realize. And so for them to recognize, yeah, you know what? Like, it's what they mentioned that they were struggling with. Quest pipeline.
Yes.
Conversations.
Yes.
Two things they get extremely right. And they're like, hey, we're not doing this well. These are the things that define us. And so they move back into that pocket. I think it's a really, really good choice.
Yeah.
So I just, again, making it more, and honestly, it's a natural pivot for what Pillars is, to go from multiplayer to more of a companion-driven experience where you have more followers with you. It's clearly built on the same tech as the Outer Worlds. So, I mean, that's something that we saw with that game. We saw that you'd have at least 2 followers with you. So it just falls in line with what we've seen from them before. So I don't think there was this dramatic overhaul and gutting the system and leaving the remnants like maybe Joplin with Dragon Age Dreadwolf right? Where we had heard like, oh, this is supposed to be live service. That's a game that, while I'm really rooting for BioWare and they're taking their time, and certainly it's been so long that I'm hoping we see less and less remnants of it, it is a game I'm expecting to have pieces within, remind me, oh, this was a live service game at some point. Right. Hopefully not, but that's my take on it. I'm personally not super concerned about things.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say too is that, I gotta give them the flowers. The reason why I'm so pro Obsidian and I feel like they're the best acquisition, for Xbox Game Studios is because we really got to look at it objectively. Since they've dropped, like I said, Outer Worlds, and then 2022, where everyone rips them, they pull off a Grounded and they pull off a Pentiment. And let's be honest, these were the only Xbox Game Studios games and those are quality games. I know they may not be zeitgeist games, but those are quality games in diverse bags, and they nailed it. Multiplayer, single player, deep lore, deep story, humor with Outer Worlds. And now they're about to do Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed. And one of these games, correct me if I'm wrong, was part of the pitch when they were to Microsoft. I believe Avowed was the game that Microsoft saw as one of the things like, oh, you guys working on one of these? Like, okay, this looks really good. We're really excited about this. I remember the early conversations when, they were acquired, and people were saying like this was one of those games that Microsoft saw that was very impressed. And I believe the game was Avowed at the time. It didn't have its code name and all that, its full name just yet. But, I just think that it's a high quality studio. And I just love when you get to hear from the developer and the transparent process of how they get to the decisions kind of thing. And this was good. I love Farquhar. Farquhar, if you're listening, we'd like you in the realm of the Dukes. And man, I'm pulling for you guys. No guarantee, like Maddie said, that Avowed is going to be absolutely amazing because of the decision. But it's refreshing to hear them not have to chase a trend and do something that and let's be honest, I'm not coming for your people, but remember when Bethesda pre-acquisition was trend change. Thank you. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. Like, people, we got to be real with it. And I'm pulling for stuff like this. So that's where I'm at.
But it also just shows no one's immune to the temptation of multiplayer bucks. So I also would say, I think Avowed in co-op could have still been a pretty good selling point for the game compared to everything else they did. But, the reality is, like, maybe they got some good data from Grounded. It's like, oh, you're doing not an RPG. I mean, now it has more light RPG elements, but when they first announced it, it was like, oh man, that's not the traditional Obsidian thing. All right. Kind of same thing with Pentiment, but I liked it, they're diversifying, but now we have stuff we know is more Obsidian, true to their core.
Absolutely.
So with that, that's all your news for the week. It's time to get into our Game Pass pick of the week, where Cog, you had the selection. So interesting pick, sir.
Yeah. Listen, man, this one's come back into the fold. We saw the announcement, and Cog has his, I don't even know what you call this genre. It's definitely the artsy fartsy Cog kind of game. And this is a game I love with all my heart. And I'm a fan of Inside, but before Inside was Limbo. And Limbo, this poor little boy in this dark dystopian world getting tortured by God knows what is going on. And I've always, loved these type of games. It's kind of in that line, like I said, of Inside, of kind of from, I would call the forefather of this genre would be Another World, where, again, you land, you're figuring out things as you go. There's really no story. It's atmospheric storytelling. There's no voice acting. It's, okay, what is happening? And there is a part of trial by death as you continue to explore this world. And I remember this game really resonating with me. And again, Play Dead, I just love them. I think it's a style of game that came from probably the 16-bit era that we don't really see anymore. And look, this game has been out for a while. A lot of people probably already familiar, but if you haven't, you really need to give Limbo a try. Again, kind of like a Alien World, the boys, black and white. You're figuring things out as you go. And what's cool is the puzzle elements and being able to say, okay, even with the littlest of sound cues or patterns, okay, this is how I can get past this encounter. And there's a sense of satisfaction and challenge. That can get brutal at certain times and frustrating, but at least the checkpoints are for the most part forgiving and put you right back in the mix to continue doing what you got to do. If you haven't played Limbo, I highly recommend it. This is a cog. I'm a curse. This is a cog ass game. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. There's the
there you go. You
verification.
got one, y'all. And again, I'm always going to champion this style of creativity. And I love Playdead. Shout out to Dino, those guys, and who also did Somerville. I guess those two broke up, and then one, went their other way. But please, if you have not played Limbo, give this a short adventure, not too long, challenging, but a unique thing. And what's crazy is this is a game that these games I feel you can get non-hardcore gamers into, because I've had examples where people will sit me, they're not gamers, and they're like, what is that? Because of the simple control, because of just moving from left to right, maybe one button to interact with objects, things of that nature, and move puzzles around. It's simple. It's not daunting. And I've got people to say, all right, I'm going to try this, that are not gamers. Like, I got a couple of friends that I'm like, yo, check this out. And they'll, or even at the very least, they'll sit and watch you and help out and be like, okay, right, maybe if you move that box here and you push that lever there, then you could get, and it becomes, this is how you get, your non-gaming girlfriend / boyfriend. This is where you get, your mom. I've seen it happen with the Limbos, the Insides, Somervilles, Planet Alana, like those type of games generate this, and I love them. So COG is a turn-based. COG is also this kind of atmospheric, dark, dystopian puzzle solving.
Yeah, this is definitely your type of game for sure.
He's like, that's sick stuff you're into. You had to say it like that. This is your
I come across more disrespectful than I intend. I more so just meant like, yeah, this is like based off of you going through Somerville, your excitement for it. I was like, yeah, it's definitely your style game. I wish I loved these types of games more. I really do, but I don't know. I guess I never really did, but I just wish part of me would give myself over to the artsy fartsy nature of some of these games, but I don't know. Sometimes I just can't tolerate it. For those who do like it, it clicks hardcore.
Quick question before we move on. Did you did not like Inside too much at all either? Inside didn't click? Oh no, he ripped it. There's a bad Mr. Matt. He plays reviews, everybody. And he def looped me. He was like, everybody's crazy. This game is trash.
Never played it.
Oh, okay. We gotta fix that. Bro.
You think this would convert me?
Oh, absolutely. Inside is peak level. Inside is the Dishonored of this. Bro, Ebontis. Listen, I got Ebontis on this. He don't play these. He's like, bro, Inside.
So which one's first? Is it Limbo or
Limbo was first? Limbo was first. Then they made Inside, right? And Inside is God tier. And the thing about Inside is because when you end it, there's a philosophical discussion of, okay, what the hell happened here? What do you make of this? Right. And that's why I also love these games, because you want to, it's up to your own interpretation on what really happened. And that's the discussion I love that these get. It's like painting. It's like, you go to, well, I think the artist representation meant this. So I think this is what they were. It's one of those, bro. Like, but this little boy, bro, Inside is amazing. Bro, you got to play Inside. It's short. You'll put that on the ally, bro. You'll knock that out.
Really? Is that quick?
Oh, yeah. That's what I love about these games. Bro, these games are like at most 6 to 8 hours. They're quick. Okay. It's just the puzzles could stump you.
Yeah.
Puzzles will get you.
That's what always gets me. Yep.
Yeah, the puzzles will get you, but bro, you got to try. But yeah, Limbo was the forefather. Great. But man,
Inside's that good, huh?
Yeah. I love me some Inside. That's peak.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. Limbo, Inside. Go get them now.
Go get those.
Our final question of the episode, Cog, comes from Angel De Jesus. Hey, it's not Xbox related, but I just listened to the episode Cog did with Colin on health and earning your gaming time. One thing that you didn't talk about, Cog, that I wanted you to discuss was breaking through walls. I've had a wall now since mid-April. I increased the number of days working out and reps. While I have gained muscle, I have lost 0 weight. Anyway, you guys do great work. I'm not an Xbox guy, but I still listen to get the take of people who are Xbox guys, but fair Xbox guys. Thank you for the good work. Thank you, Angel. We appreciate
That
you.
meant a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Cog, yeah, you did an episode that a lot of people really love with Colin, Health is Wealth, and you guys got all into the thick of things here with taking care of your body, earning that game time. But what do you make of what Angel thought you overlooked, sir? This is all you.
Shout out to Angel, man. Thank you for that. I got a lot of I was shocked at how many people reached out to me after that episode. A lot of people were like, yo, loved it. And it got a little deep, man. Me and Colin got a little emotional with we even linked mental health into it, suicide into it, obesity into it. It got deep. And the main thing, especially what Colin was talking about, as far as, we got to be honest, as far as gamers, how big we can get. And, sometimes the chic thing is to say, hey, love everyone for who they are. And we do, but we also wanted to apply to, hey, that's not really healthy. And my thing is like, bro, your time could be limited if you continue to live that way kind of energy, right? So, to Angel's question, breaking walls is tough. It's tough because when you finally get, that's like level 2, level 3 stuff, right? Level 1 is just getting there, changing your body, making changes to get you into a pocket of improvement. Level 2 is like, okay, I'm consistently going, but damn, I'm not really, or I hit this wall. I just can't get past this plateau. And I think in his case is what he's talking about. He's working out, he's gaining muscle. He's not, losing 0 weight. The honest to God's truth of it, it's diet, bro. It truly is diet. And a lot of times, and this is the talk me and Colin had, this thing is all about concessions. You're going to have to give something up. The question is what it is, can you do it, and can you commit to it? And we all got our vices. You know what I'm saying? I'm late night, whenever's open, if that McDonald's, bro, you know how, and as gamers, healthy stuff is not accessible. What's easy accessible is that bag of chips, the Doritos, the Taco Bell. You know how it go, right? So
Yep.
we make those mistakes. And I think the honest truth is you got to go harder on your food choices and really break. I remember getting an app. It was called Lose It. And I can basically scan the UPC bar of any product. It would tell me the calories, the fat, whatever, and it would monitor. I set my goal, hey, I'm going to have, I'm just making up a number, a certain amount of calories per day, and I'm not going to go over this amount. Bro, that helped me. That helped me a lot because I had to be honest with myself. Okay, you just had this. You're going to have to put that in there. You tallying up your score it's like a high score. You got to be like, damn, I'm about to go over my threshold, and you get to see it. So I would recommend that. I would recommend Lose It app. That's great. You could track smartwatches as far as, for me, they're lifesaver. It's like, yo, bro, you have not moved. You've been stationary for 2.5 hours we love Maddie, but you've been stationary. A lot of times you'll say, all right, and you notice, Maddie, sometimes I'll go to the gym after Duke. You see me.
Oftentimes you're like, I'm going to go lift. I'm like, yeah, it's like 10 at night.
Bro, sometimes it's like, just to get a little cardio, just if it's a little something, and then boom, because I know I work a remote job, and I'm doing podcasts all day. You know this belly about to get crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just life. So we got to be honest with certain stuff. So that's what I would say, Angel. Look at those type of options as far as like weight training. I mean, as far as apps, as far as what you're monitoring your intake, because I do think in this case it seems diet kind of thing. And then also the last thing I would say is, don't be afraid to ask questions to people who actually, are acquiring whether the physique or the look you have or you want or the goals, and ask for help. I'll do it all the time. Like, yo, bro, my cat is garbage. Like, yo, what you do for cat? Like, what do you, like, I ask people, I'm an information sponge and work according to your body. Obviously there's certain things you can do, but thank you for listening to that episode. I thought it was really cool. I loved it. I thought we had some real deep, honest talks. And I think you just got to really just do a more honest assessment with your diet and then see what happens there. But what about you, man? Like, what do you do for like walls and stuff when you're kind of hitting that plateau? You're going hard, but you're like, damn, I ain't seeing no improvement on.
Yeah, a lot of my walls have been really health barriers, which is what I obviously went through earlier. It's
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like fitness walls though, diet is the big one. For me though, it was legs. Like you talked about like oh man, my calves. Like for me, the thing I always got was like, oh, sub chicken legs, and I hated it because I felt like I could do nothing about it. Like I would try, or like Angel would say, I feel like I'd try, I'd become a victim to my mindset. I'd be like, I'm trying, like I hate when people brought it up because I know I'd like go and leg press weights that were previously inconceivable to me. And I was like, wow, why is my legs not growing? Right. And the best advice I got was I talked to a buddy of mine who worked at the gym, and he was like me in high school. He was like skinny guy, 130, wet. And he was like, throw in a second leg day. He's like, take down one of your, because my arms are growing, my chest was growing, my shoulders are growing. He's like, those will grow. He's like, you know, you'll use those while doing other lifts. He's like, add in a second leg day.
Yes.
And so that increased the amount of days I was at the gym. So I was doing 5 days a week, but 2 of those were legs. And suddenly, I wasn't getting tree trunks by any means, but suddenly I actually had some meat to my legs. I finally do now. Like my calves, shin area, still skinny. But for me, when I look in the mirror and I actually see like meat there, I'm like, it's the greatest fucking feeling. Oh. But it took dieting. I had to eat a lot more. And it took me doubling up on legs, which it's what you can double up. See, the thing is, it's so easy to double up on your upper body. I think I told you, Cog, I said, give your upper body the same energy you give your legs, and you'll see the progress. Because it's easy to be, you're curling. You're like, oh man, like you see your what's the term when like the veins popping out and everything.
Oh yeah, you got the well, it's the muscle soreness, but I know what you mean. You talk about that pump, like where your muscle, the lactic acid. When you got the lactic acid, but you like, yeah, bro.
Yeah, you're pumped. And so what do? You look in the mirror, you're like, yeah, let me do like 2 more.
Yep.
No one's doing that for their legs.
Facts.
And it's what I tell people. I'm like, do that just 1 more for your legs. And you'll see, like, if a guy like me can break down that barrier and start to see some level of gain in their legs, by God, I know you can too. And so it's one of those things where, yeah, you're right on the money. Diet. What I said before, you are what you eat. Yes. That will forever be true. I'm not saying you got to go snobby organic like Maddie, but I'm not trying to disrespect you, Angel, if you're, if you feel like you're dieting well. But what Cog pointed out is great. I used MyFitnessPal, the Under Armour app. Same exact thing, by the way. Same exact thing. You can scan it in, like Cog said, you tally up your stats. You can put in your goal weight. They'll help you coordinate how many calories you want to eat per day, how quickly you want to lose or gain, in my case, the weight. And so you can work and it kind of calculates it for you. So it keeps you honest, keeps you on track, keeps you aware. And you'll be that dude. You'll see me just pause in the aisle, and I'm just like this the whole time. Just
bro, you become like a nutrition
I spend more time
style
reading at the grocery store than here at home. I swear to God, bro.
That's when you paying attention. Facts.
Actually, and what I tell people is, last thing, this is organic snob Maddie talking, so you can dismiss if you'd like. If you pick up a box, you're like, I'm trying to lose weight. You pick up that box, and the fucking ingredient list is damn long. And you just see it scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, where you got to stop and look for more than like 10 seconds. Don't buy it. That's what I tell them. Like, you're just putting shit in your body at that point. Do not buy it. Do not buy it. That's my personal advice to you. Start putting cleaner stuff in your body, and you'll see the difference. I'm telling you. Look, I dealt with a thing. I'm a big believer in this. I dealt with a thing for 10 whole months with no fucking changes at all. And the second I started really paying attention, I'm talking like, what'd you put in this cereal?
Facts.
Wheat flour? Okay. Yep. Sugar, salt, that's it. Yep. It makes a massive difference. And I started making my own stuff. My fiance helped a lot with that. We made basil pesto. True. We made a blueberry jam to put in seltzer. So it's kind of like, if you need that sweet, that's what I got for myself. You create answers. That's the biggest thing to breaking through walls. Don't starve yourself. Create answers.
Facts.
For when you start to weaken. Okay, like, oh, I'm getting that. I need something sweet. Get some like sweet and salty popcorn, right? Like popcorn's light and airy. Like, it's not perfect, but like something, right, to kind of take the edge off. Don't grab a can of Coke. Like, that's what you don't want to do, right? So
facts.
That's my preachy ass advice. If I could give anything, it's really beyond just like calorie count, bro. It's like really earnestly look into what you eat.
Yes.
I know organic is fucking expensive, so trust me, I would love to go back.
Healthy is expensive,
but it is. But there are cheap ways to do it. I will recommend this site I've been eating off of, and it's called the Dizzy Cook. Lifesaver website, by the way. But they have great alternative recommendations and ways to create your own food that have actually saved me a ton of money. So even though you're not going through what I'm going through, Angel, or anyone else out there, look into that site because it does give you kind of cleaner. The idea with the migraine diet is you have to pretty much eat completely clean. So you can actually go on this migraine elimination diet and cut a ton of weight. Like, I will say this straight up. Sorry, last thing. Because I was having my thing, right, for so long, I wasn't exercising much. And yeah, bro, I was bloating up. Bro, I hate it. It was weird. Like, I'd eat something. I'd walk in the bathroom with my shirt off. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what? Me? I couldn't believe. I was like, I'm the kid who's being told, hey, you got to eat more. You got to eat more, bro. And I'm like, looking at me, I'm like, I got a gut, bro. I was like, what's going on?
Thanks.
So, like I said, man, like just really pay attention to what you eat. Try even that Dizzy Cook website, even if you don't have migraines. It enforces kind of a clean eating style and will let you get meals that you feel. Bro, I had Laylee made a cauliflower pesto sauce and a seared salmon. And it was all clean, all natural. And I felt like I was cheating. That's what you want from your meals. That's what you want from your meals. Like, yo, this is so creamy and good and flavorful.
There go the creamy.
And I feel full. Oh, yeah. That's only 2 this episode. Only
we gonna get some palsy stuff. We know he's gonna get one.
You know when the food comes up, that's what happens. I start to make everyone pause. But it felt like I was completely cheating my diet. And that's what you want to create for yourself. You can eat good and healthy and somewhat cheaper. You just got to pick it out and be strategic. And I'm telling you, that website will teach you some things.
Great advice. And last thing I'll say is just pre-plan. Make sure when you go on these sites, you do it what we're talking about, have it already available so that you don't fall into the trap and slip and stuff like that. Because that was my biggest thing. Like when I know I'm at my weakest, my cog doesn't plan. And it's just,
I'm right. Yeah, dude. I was at the grocery store before I got locked out of my house. Yeah, and bro. Yeah, like that's the thing. I don't let myself get low on supplies at all anymore. As a homeowner, I'm like, what? We only got one thing of oat milk left. I'm gonna go buy 2.
Exactly. You, bro, have it available so you don't have the weak moment. But what you said, paying attention to everything that goes in your body. That's how I made the changes. I eliminated all the high fructose corn syrup. I really started paying attention to the labels. I started looking at Eat the Raw. I looked at all these things. I was like, you can't have that. Can't have this. Like, and I really
additives. That's it. And you'll be clean,
bro, for real. And the water commitment, was so huge for me. And I was like, damn, I don't really drink enough. And now I got you the king of it. And now I gotta be you because of my condition, right? But diverticulitis, issues of stomach. You want that constant flow, get the bad bacteria out. So good stuff, man. I agree.
Yeah, that good thing on the water. Buy one that has this sort of hour tracker. Like mine's a 7 a.m., 7 p.m.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. I don't follow it to a T. I just do it in a 12-hour window, right? So whenever I start drinking, if it's like 10 a.m., I'm like, okay, be done by 10 p.m. I'm a little behind today because I ran so many errands, but that will, having that measurement, like I've had gallon waters before, but it's just never worked out. But having a measurement where you look and it'll be like 1 p.m. and I'm all the way up here at 9 a.m. I'm like, oh, I'm not drinking enough. No wonder I feel off. It's like your brain starts to connect the dots. It's the same thing with reading the labels. Like it's a pain in the ass the first trip or two to the store because you're like stopping. I'm just reading every friggin' thing. And yes, it inflates your store trip. But as you learn the new process, you'll thank yourself later because you'll feel better. It'll be quicker. You'll know what to grab and what to ignore, more importantly.
Yes. Health is wealth, y'all. Even for gamers. We gotta
Indeed.
Give it to y'all.
Yeah, we got to get you all ready for Starfield. That's what's got to happen here. We got to get you prepared and healthy for Starfield. We're all going to be on our asses for a while.
Facts. Yeah, I want people to be around. Don't be dying on me in Starfield. All these hot games, Baldur's Gate, all this coming out. You not around because you're going to make bad choices.
Yeah, come on now.
Let's go.
Great way to end it, Cog. Great way to end it. So with that, we pick our hashtag, sir. Pretty light week, all things considered here. I feel like Avowed, multiplayer removed, Starfield, and some mental health crisis is ongoing. We have Baldur's Gate 3. doing Baldur's Gate 3 things.
What we got. Oh man, it's
Tough
tough
one.
because we were all over the place with some really. It was light, but we had some good tangents. Starfield was in there. Baldur's Gate got a lot in there too. I don't know what we want to do.
DDBG3. I mean, just
keep it all. Yeah, because Baldur's Gate was. Yeah, it was in the mix.
It was in the mix. Yeah,
it was in the mix. Yeah. Let's get some BG3. Right. DDBG3.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you got this deep into DD episode 136, we appreciate you. If I could speak properly, we appreciate you first and foremost. Thank you. And if you want to give us some feedback, you can tag me on Twitter. I'm at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can use the hashtag DDBG3. Let us know your thoughts on the episode, good or bad. I saw for the first time ever a somewhat critical tweet using the hashtag.
Okay. What was the critical? What was it?
I don't remember what they said.
Remember what the nature of it? Okay.
It was, they were disappointed we didn't go into something during a conversation, but I should have committed it to memory more. I apologize to that writer because it was the first time it happened. I was almost that is what consumed me more than the feedback. I was like, oh wow, someone got us. They got a little critical, which is fine. We asked for that stuff. Of course, if you don't want to go on Twitter, that's fine. Go into the comment section, leave your thoughts. DDBG3 is the hashtag. Yeah. We appreciate all of you engaging with us. And with that, Cog, it's time for us to sign off for one more week. And by the time we arrive, we'll only be 2 weeks away from Starfield. So
getting close.
Not much longer, sir. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to take decent care of yourselves. You know, we got to keep you around for Starfield at least. And with that, Cog, I'll see you next week, good sir.
No doubt.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.